Rosemary Christensen disappeared on August 26, 1999. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Rosemary Christensen's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. Australian Rosemary Christensen is outgoing and friendly. She likes to socialize.
With no phone calls, nobody answering the home phone, there was something very wrong.
The thing that stands out was my pleading with her to please come stay with me, be safe.
But when she goes missing, it is her husband who pleads for help.
Please, if anybody's seen Rose, know where she's at, please.
I didn't believe any of it for a minute. I knew he had done something to Rosemary and it wasn't going to be good.
As nearly 10 years pass, the case goes cold until...
I felt that someday my phone would ring, and I thought at that point in time I would be able to come forward.
This is the mystery of how Rosemary Christensen disappeared. Forty-three-year-old Rosemary Christensen is a well-respected realtor near Clearwater, Florida.
She was the friendliest, nicest, sweetest person ever.
She cared a lot about people, and in turn, people cared a lot about her.
The day Rosemary went missing starts just like any other. Rosemary is on her way to work at a local real estate firm for the daily meeting.
It's always the same. We do our pump-up, rah-rah sessions and then listen about new listings and just a normal day.
As her day progresses, Rosemary gets some great news. One of her properties has sold, and she's elated.
She'd worked hard on this contract, and it came through. And, you know, once something like that happens, she would just get overjoyed over it.
Moments like this are the reason Rosemary loves the real estate business. And the business loves her.
She was excellent. She knew what her job was and did it very, very well.
She was very dedicated, very hardworking. I mean, she took things so seriously. In fact, she had won several awards and everything, and she'd only been in it for a couple of years.
Rosemary began her realty career in 1997, shortly after moving to the United States from Holland. In Holland, she was the wife of a diplomat, a role she relished that took her all over the world. Rosemary's Australian accent, cordiality, and worldliness help her connect with practically everyone she meets.
I met Rosemary at an open house. I had done real estate for a long time, and she's just starting. And then we also got into her background, which was diplomatic. I had a diplomatic background as well. And we instantly hit it off.
Before moving to America, Rosemary also hits it off with someone she meets on the internet, a 47-year-old man from Illinois named Robert G. Temple.
We were just friends at first and get involved into phone calls. She told me about she was married to a diplomat, and, you know, and naturally I didn't believe her when she had told me, and all the people that she had met and presidents that she had been to dinners with. You know, I thought it was internet chat, so I think I might have been a secret agent, or who knows, you know how people exaggerate.
He had told her that he was with the FBI, that he had several homes in several places, and somehow or another he convinced her to come over to the United States to meet him in person.
Rosemary separates from her husband and flies to Chicago to meet Temple, who's surprised to learn she's been truthful about herself from day one.
When she did come to see me, I knew she was telling the truth, and I had already told her, and I felt so ashamed, you know, that, you know, I'm just a farm boy from Illinois.
Rosemary gets divorced, and after a 6-month courtship, Rosemary and Robert get married and settle in the quiet community of Bel Air, Florida. In this condo, which Rosemary pays for. Rosemary's friends don't really understand the attraction.
When I first met Robert Temple, I had no idea what Rosemary was doing with him.
We're still trying to figure that one out.
Whatever her friends think, Rosemary and Robert do seem to enjoy a true, loving bond.
Sometimes opposites attract, which they do in many relationships. You know, whatever goes on behind closed doors is something we're not ever privy to, but they must have had something to be together.
Thursday, August 26th, 1999, back at work, Rosemary continues to celebrate the property she sold. While she runs through the office parking lot to tell coworkers the good news, she trips and falls onto her knee.
I believe her heel got caught in the asphalt and she skinned her knee. And there's a little scratch.
And she'd ripped her hose, so we Band-Aided it up because it hadn't run yet or anything. So she was okay, but she was like so upset about her hose having a hole in it now because she had an appointment.
Meeting with clients is the part of the job Rosemary enjoys the most.
She would take people out to dinner and to lunch and show them where to go.
When she was with clients, they warmed up to her instantly, and we never felt anything but comfortable with her going out with the clients.
But her husband, Robert, worries about the kind of people Rosemary may meet.
That was the only time I ever worried about her was at night. I shouldn't say this, but sometimes I would go ahead and follow her.
At 2 p.m., just 5 hours before her disappearance, Rosemary has an appointment with clients.
I know she was showing property to a couple that she met up in Bel Air Beach.
Rosemary meets her clients at the Bel Air Beach Resort Motel. Next, she takes them to view a number of properties. At one home, Rosemary gets a call on her cell phone around 3:30.
Robert had been calling her.
I called and she said, I'm probably going to be late because I've got about 20 places I can show her if she wants to see them all. We'll just go with whatever she wants to do. But I'll call you before I come home.
A half hour later, Rosemary's phone rings again. This time, Rosemary is annoyed and excuses herself.
Nothing worse than when you're trying to show somebody a house and you're getting interrupted and you lose your train of thought.
At around 5:30 that afternoon, Rosemary apologizes for the interruption and wraps up the appointment. Then she schedules another appointment for 11 a.m. the next day. Rosemary says goodbye to her client and then heads home. This is the last time Rosemary Christensen is seen. The next day, Rosemary's client shows up at the realty office looking for Rosemary. It's unusual that Rosemary didn't call in, but coworker Kathy assumes Rosemary's absence is likely connected to problems she's having with Robert.
The first thing I did think was, okay, they had a falling out, and here she's not coming in. But I just kind of let it go.
Most of the day goes by, and still, no call from Rosemary. Her coworkers are prepping for a company beach party the next day, and Rosemary fails to help as planned.
She was supposed to be making a potato salad for this party, and she didn't have a bowl big enough, so she had asked one of the associates if she could borrow a big bowl. So they put this bowl out and had it sitting out there waiting for her on Friday to pick up, and she never came. And I said, well, she still got Saturday. I mean, it doesn't take long to make potato salad.
But deep down, Kathy thinks Rosemary might be avoiding her coworkers, because Kathy's come to know a secret detail of Rosemary's home life. It's Friday, August 27th, 1999. Florida realtor Rosemary Christensen hasn't been seen since the night before. Her coworker Kathy McKinnon thinks it might be because Rosemary and her husband, Robert Temple, had an argument. In fact, Kathy worries that Rosemary may be hiding from sight. She can't forget something Rosemary told her just a month earlier.
She wanted me to know that she's having problems with Robert and that they'd had major domestic fights. And the reasoning why she was not in the office, she'd be gone for a couple days. is because she was too embarrassed that a bruise would show her.
I hate the fact that people think that I could ever hurt Rosemary. You know, I never hurt Rose, threatened her, or anything.
On Saturday, August 28th, Kathy hopes Rosemary will come out of hiding to attend the company beach party. Rosemary and Robert went to the party the year before, but this year, they're both a no-show.
See, she never came, and I had been calling her, and she's with no response.
Rosemary's boss then pages her multiple times.
And the more pages went by without a response, the more elevated the concern became.
After that, the party was over, still no Rosemary. I just figured that she and Robert had a fight and that she was at home trying to make the wounds go away so no one would see it.
The next morning, Kathy and a coworker are worried about Rosemary. They head over to her condominium to check up on her. But Kathy knows that in order to get to Rosemary, she might have to confront Robert.
Robert never really liked me.
As Kathy and a male coworker arrive at the condominium complex to look for Rosemary, they notice Robert's motorcycle and Rosemary's car are still sitting in their parking lot. The vehicles make Kathy wonder why her phone calls have gone unanswered if both Rosemary and Robert are still at home.
I knew something was really wrong then.
Kathy wanders around the back of the complex toward Rosemary's condo, Unit 148.
And all the windows were closed, all the drapes were pulled. It was just dark. I mean, there was nobody, you couldn't see in. And that's when we called the Bel Air police.
Soon the police arrive. A locksmith opens the condo, and an officer enters the home. After the police search the home, they contact Rosemary's best friend, Laurel.
I got a phone call that they were at her condo. Then he proceeded to tell me that the carpet was missing. At that point, I started crying because I had been at her house just recently. The carpet was new, it was beautiful, the walls were freshly painted.
Rosemary had just remodeled her condo, and my carpet guy helped, and I knew something was really, really wrong at that moment.
Desperate for answers, Kathy calls Robert Temple's family in Decatur, Illinois, and speaks to a woman who answers the phone.
I just asked if she had seen Robert, and she said that Robert was up there in Illinois. And I said, well, is Rosemary with him? And she said no. And I said, well, we can't seem to find Rosemary. And she asked me if I had looked in the trunk of Rosemary's car for her. I asked her why would she say something like that, and she goes, well, you know they've been having problems.
What was allegedly said intensifies Kathy's suspicions about Robert. She's somewhat surprised when moments later, Robert calls her back.
I said, Robert, where's Rosemary? And then he started getting all upset and said, did she leave me, Kathy? Did she leave me? I said, I don't know, Robert. All I want to know is where is she? Do you know where she is? And that's when he says that she went off with some people Thursday night and he left town. I told him he was lying. I said, Robert, don't be telling me this kind of crap. He just says, I know you're not going to believe it, but it doesn't matter. That's exactly what the point is.
As the search for Rosemary ramps up, Pinellas County Sheriff's detectives take over the investigation and attempt to locate Temple.
They learned rather quickly that he was in Illinois visiting relatives, I believe, and he had planned that trip, he said, beforehand, and it was a point of some dispute with his wife, some argument, some disagreement, he later explained.
They learn Rosemary's husband isn't only with his relatives, he's with another woman.
His traveling companion was a 22-year-old woman by the name of Leslie Stewart. Obviously, that raises everybody's suspicion to some degree. At the time, the suggestion, of course, between the lines was that this was not a perfect marriage if there was a girlfriend involved.
Robert met Leslie Stewart while both worked as customer service agents at a phone sex and psychic hotline.
Probably within
A couple of weeks after I met her, we were having sex every day, either in the back parking lot at work, in her car, or in the bathroom at work.
Back in Florida, detectives officially search the condo. They find a collection of used cleaning products and painting supplies, items that were purchased the morning after Rosemary's disappearance at a nearby Walmart by Robert Temple using Rosemary's credit card. At the time, detectives report that Rosemary's husband, Robert Temple, is cooperating and has agreed to return to Florida for further questioning.
We've said before that he is not a suspect. He has the understanding we'd like to speak to him.
Authorities don't name Temple a suspect because solid evidence linking him to Rosemary's disappearance hasn't been discovered. Also, it seems possible Temple really doesn't know what happened to his wife. Temple left messages for her on their home answering machine, and he even left her a note.
Dear Rose, I was hoping to see you before I left, but I decided to go ahead and go today instead of waiting until tomorrow. Tried phoning and beeping you, but guess you were out of range. Wish you could have gone with me, but maybe next time. Take care, and I'll be back on Tuesday. I love you, lady, Rob. And then in the bottom of the note, he said, also, the tile guy said he could do it next week once we got all the painting done. Promise me you'll like this shade of white this time. Ha ha. Rosemary and I had recently been at her home, and she had never mentioned to me anything about getting tile. The whole note was bogus, designed to put the sheriffs off into a missing persons search.
I didn't believe any of it for a minute. I knew he had done something to Rosemary, and it wasn't going to be good.
Why are Rosemary's friends so convinced Robert has done something terrible to his wife? When Robert Temple's criminal records surface, revealing a violent past, their concerns only escalate. On September 26, 1999, Tampa Bay area realtor Rosemary Christensen disappears.
This was a big deal. It was a big deal because Rosemary Christensen was a well-liked, if not loved, realtor who had a lot of friends and coworkers who cared a great deal about her.
Police hope her husband, Robert G. Temple, can help them locate Rosemary. But her best friends think something horrible has happened. Their suspicions stem from incidents of alleged verbal and physical abuse involving her husband.
When Rosemary and I first started talking about the abuse, it was mainly the verbal that was bothering her. Robert would say stuff about her weight, just hurtful things. I think as the relationship got strained, it escalated.
She told me about one incident in a townhouse they lived at, and that he had hit her.
The incident occurred on the night of July 14th, 1997, in Clearwater, Florida. According to police records and these photographs, Rosemary sustained injuries to her cheek and eye. But her husband Robert claims it was all an accident.
Rose was up, opening the door, right as I tripped over a box and hit the door and knocked her back, and I'm still falling forward in the door. It cut her eye right here. It split her eye. I mean, it was bleeding like there's no tomorrow.
Temple was arrested for domestic battery, but Rosemary asked for the charges to be dropped, and Temple pleaded no contest to disorderly conduct. Despite the incident, Rosemary and Robert marry 3 weeks later.
Robert continued to tell her, I'll change. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Abuser's first defense is to say, oh, it was an accident. And in some ways, it was a plausible excuse, except when you add up all these things together, it just didn't look good.
As the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office continues to wait for Temple's return from Illinois, his record of criminal offenses surfaces in the local media. In 1996, just over a year before marrying Rosemary, Temple pleaded guilty to domestic battery of his previous wife in Decatur, Illinois. He claims the incident was an unfortunate misunderstanding.
My wife and I were kind of drunk. We were on the front porch. I started to go off, and I grabbed her, and we both went off into the bushes. Her mom saw that, called the police on me.
That wasn't Temple's only brush with the law. He served about 5 years in prison back in 1975 for involuntary manslaughter in the violent death of a girlfriend's 18-month-old child. Temple says someone else killed the child, but he took the rap.
He clearly had a violent past.
1 week after Rosemary's disappearance, and the morning after her 44th birthday, her husband Robert finally returns for questioning. He later joins the detectives at the condo. The local press is also on the scene.
And at our request, they agreed to ask him to come out and talk to us in the pool area of the condominium. So as he walked up to us, I believe every one of us had a whole lot of questions we wanted to ask him.
Can you tell us when you first found out how it all started from the beginning?
They called me in Illinois and told me that I needed to call where Rose worked because they said she was missing.
It was clear that he was presenting himself as a man who was in great anguish over the fate of his wife.
Rose and I haven't been apart this long since we've been married. I miss her so bad.
I just want her back. Please, if anybody's seen Rose, know where she's at, please. Just tell her, just call, just please let us know.
When Rosemary's best friend Laurel sees the interview, she's immediately dubious.
His hands were trembling and he was crying, but there were no tears.
I believe that would really happen.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone try to work up a tear as hard as he did that day and fail to do so.
Not buying the emotion, Douglas asks Temple some tougher questions.
Sir, pardon the directness of my question, but have detectives asked you whether you killed your wife?
Yes.
And what did you tell them?
I told him no. I could never hurt Rose. I'd rather be dead than anything ever happened to her.
As the interview continues, Temple reveals he last saw his wife the night of her disappearance at around 7 o'clock, an hour and a half after she left her client that day. He says she left home to meet some people he didn't know, but that he didn't expect her to return that evening. Why? Away from the cameras, he drops a bombshell.
They lived an alternative lifestyle, he said. They were swingers.
To reporters, it seems plausible, but Rosemary's closest friends dispute the swinger story.
Rosemary would have never gotten involved in anything shady or along that line, much less swinging.
She was not a swinger. She was not that type of person.
You know, there's always two sides to every story, but it certainly seems complete polar opposite of the Rosemary that I knew. But from what I saw, it didn't seem to jive.
Reporter Mark Douglas investigated the story, but cannot substantiate Temple's claims.
I don't think anyone, especially not myself, ever found any evidence to prove that. On the other hand, I believe there was a lot of evidence that Mr. Temple and his girlfriend at the time, Leslie Stewart, lived that lifestyle.
Meanwhile, detectives have reportedly found blood traces on a piece of carpet from the condo. Surprisingly, Temple acknowledges the blood was most likely Rosemary's.
He said that his wife accidentally cut herself, and he cut the square out of the carpet because he couldn't get the blood out of it.
Temple says Rosemary's injury came from a fall onto her knee at work, exactly 1 week earlier.
It wasn't a scratch. Rosemary fell down a couple of times. That's how bad she hurt her leg, because it had really bled. But she said that what hurt her worse was her colleagues walking past her and nobody offering to help her.
Rosemary's boss, Jeff Beggins, doesn't remember it that way.
I actually bandaged it up with a Band-Aid, and it was a minor scrape, if anything.
Kathy McKinnon remembers another detail from that day, which she subsequently tells police.
After she had fallen and we had gotten everything fixed and stuff, she was outside smoking a cigarette, and she came right up to me. She said, "Kathy, do you think that Robert is plotting to kill me?"
It's an ominous statement, but still does not tie Robert Temple to Rosemary's disappearance.
If you talk to any other Rose's colleagues, Rose did not share her personal life Trust me, I would have known that. I do not believe that she just walked up out of the clear blue and said that to this woman. That, I believe, is a falsehood and a lie.
After the press conference, Temple goes on with his day. Although the Pinellas County sheriffs still don't name him a suspect, the local press doggedly pursues him and his girlfriend, Leslie Stewart. After days of media scrutiny, he and Stewart meet with an attorney for help dealing with the press, but the lawyer advises the couple to retain separate counsel. And Leslie is referred to defense attorney J. Hebert. What Hebert is about to learn might just be the big break investigators have been hoping for, but he won't be able to reveal anything for 9 long years. It's been almost 1 full week since Tampa Bay realtor Rosemary Christensen was last seen. Police have searched her home and questioned her husband, Robert Temple, but they have no suspects or evidence to solve her disappearance. The local press shadows the husband and his girlfriend, Leslie Stewart. But eventually, the couple tires of the attention and seeks legal representation to handle the media. Leslie Stewart meets with local attorney J. Hebert.
For the time, we engaged in an attorney-client conversation, and we listened to everything she had to say, and we did everything we could to represent her the best we could at the time.
What Stewart discusses with Hebert remains confidential, and after their meeting, Hebert never expects to hear from Stewart again. 10 days after Rosemary's disappearance, leads are scarce. To keep the case alive, Rosemary's boss, Jeff Beggins, offers a reward for Rosemary's safe return.
We're taking that into our own hands, making sure that we're doing everything that we can because she's one of our own, and we're not going to rest until she's found.
We put up a $10,000 cash reward. Dollar bills, loose lips, a lot quicker than going in with a gold badge and asking questions and interviews.
After volunteers distribute flyers throughout the area, people come forward and offer private investigator Dick Price some new information.
In probably 1 week, maybe 10 days, I received about 13 to 15 phone calls. There were some people that, boy, they would have liked to have collected that $10,000, but they didn't know enough to put the nail in the coffin.
Over 1 month passes. Rosemary is still missing, without a trace. Her husband rents a moving van and packs up all of their belongings.
I had the condo under surveillance when I came across Robert with a large Penske moving truck. I sat and observed and saw Robert bringing out items and loading the van up.
Temple leaves town with Leslie Stewart.
They got away scot-free. They absolutely had no problems packing up Rosemary's belongings, getting out of town.
Because authorities don't have strong enough evidence, they cannot detain either Temple or Stewart.
When he left, there really wasn't much more to say about this, and the story more or less died down.
Meanwhile, Temple and Stewart travel around the country. They finally settle over 3,000 miles away from Bel Air, Florida, in the Northern California city of Redding. The pair has a child in 2005. But back in Florida, Rosemary's friend Laurel thinks the couple and their secrets will eventually come unglued.
Knowing what a control freak he was, I knew that either he was going to kill Leslie or he was going to threaten her one too many times and she was going to come forward.
The relationship does unravel when Temple allegedly threatens Leslie on August 25th, 2008.
This all happened to coincide right around the 9th anniversary of Rosemary's disappearance. Almost 9 years to the date, Leslie was preparing to go to this family reunion in Washington State. Before she left, Mr. Temple pulled this rather large knife, put it to her throat, and said, "If you say anything, or if you talk about this, I'll kill you, and I'll kill myself, and I'll kill our daughter."
Temple denies Stewart's story.
Leslie, off the top of her head, fabricated that about me pulling a knife on her and putting it to her throat and threatening her. It's really simple. None of the incident happened.
While visiting her family 10 days later, Stewart allegedly tells them about her recent spat with Temple. She decides the only way to change her situation is to get police involved. On September 3rd, 2008, Stewart sets her plan into motion. She calls someone she hasn't spoken to for 9 years, attorney J. Hebert.
And Leslie said, "Hi, Jay, it's Leslie Stewart. Do you remember me?" And candidly, the name didn't just jump off the page at me, but then the next line did. And she said, "About 9 years ago." And immediately at that point in time, the 9 years, I put 2 and 2 together. And I realized that I was talking to my client, who I had not had a conversation with in 9 years. And I was really curious as to why she was calling.
Now, all these years later, Stewart tells Hebert she wants to come forward and reveal the secrets of Rosemary Christensen's whereabouts. Her information will break the case wide open. Tampa Bay realtor Rosemary Christensen has been missing since August 26, 1999. But 9 years later, authorities are about to get a huge break in what's become a cold case. It comes from Leslie Stewart, the girlfriend of Rosemary's husband, Robert Temple. She calls attorney J. Hebert and tells him she wants to turn Temple in.
She had told me for the very first time in almost 9 years that she had had an opportunity to be away from Mr. Temple for an extended period of time, and that she was ready to come forward and explain the details of Rosemary's disappearance.
Stewart gives Hebert the same information she gave him the last time they spoke. A story that's haunted him, that he's kept confidential for 9 years. The reason?
In any legal situation, when a client comes in and consults with an attorney, the attorney-client privilege applies. And what that means loosely is that whatever a client tells a lawyer should be kept in confidence, and that we cannot reveal that information to anyone for any reason, unless, of course, later the client waives that privilege.
Now, Stewart does waive the privilege and allows Hebert to get the police involved. She will reveal what happened to Rosemary Christensen. On September 3rd, 2008, Pinellas County Sheriff's detectives fly across country to secretly interview Stewart at her family reunion just south of Seattle. Leslie Stewart tells the detectives, on the night of Rosemary's disappearance, August 26, 1999, that Robert Temple called her multiple times, insisting that she come to his condo as soon as possible. She arrives to allegedly find Temple drunk and making strange statements.
One of the things was that he had been involved in a child manslaughter out of state. Additionally, he advised her that there was no such thing as the Witness Protection Program, another somewhat bizarre out-of-left-field comment.
As Stewart wonders what Temple is talking about, he leads her into the bedroom he shares with his wife, Rosemary. Stewart is stunned by what she sees.
Leslie Stewart saw Rosemary Christensen laying in a pool of blood. She wasn't breathing, her eyes were shut, and it was quite obvious that Rosemary was deceased.
According to police records, Temple tells Stewart that he was sitting in front of his computer when Rosemary, who he thought was asleep, snuck up from behind and hit him on the head with the butt end of a large knife. Temple tells Stewart he and his wife struggled and that he accidentally stabbed Rosemary.
It was at that point in time that Leslie compounded the situation by making some bad decisions. She helped with the cover-up. She helped dispose of the body, and she continued with the cover-up story that Robert Temple had come up with. And she did all of this because she was scared of Robert Temple.
Stewart's story is the break police have been hoping for. But before they can arrest Robert Temple for Rosemary's murder, they must first locate the only evidence in the case, Rosemary's body, and Stewart must lead them to it. But they worry about how Temple will react if he learns of Stewart's activities.
We did not want Mr. Temple to get nervous about her not coming back or returning phone calls. There was concern that Mr. Temple had actually threatened to kill Leslie, and then he would kill their daughter, and then he would kill himself.
Police in Redding, California arrest Temple for making the threats 10 days earlier. But Temple denies the allegations.
She is so treacherous and vicious, you have no idea. She told the police 10 days after the incident was supposed to happen with the knife. 10 days later, no human being that I know would wait 10 days. Why didn't she drive straight to the police? It's because it was a damn lie to begin with, that's what. So.
While Temple is in police custody, and the couple's 3-year-old daughter is with Child Protective Services, Stewart flies to Florida with Pinellas County detectives. She takes them to property along the Suwannee River in the north-central region of Gilchrist County, Florida.
Leslie was fortunate that she was able to take them to the area where the body was buried and located.
Just as Leslie had told J.A. Baer 9 years before, investigators find Rosemary's body stuffed in a green plastic tub, like the one listed on the Walmart receipt. Shortly after the discovery, police in California charged Temple with first-degree murder of his wife, Rosemary Christensen. Rosemary's family and friends are saddened, but relieved to hear the news. Finally, after so many years, they learn what they believe to be the truth.
The family and I knew years ago that he had killed her.
I always knew that someday he was going to slip up because he wasn't that smart.
Temple has been extradited back to Pinellas County, Florida, to face murder charges. But he says they've got the wrong person.
I did help dispose of Rosemary's body. I did help cover up that crime. Those are very serious felonies, too. I deserve to be punished for what I did, and I won't lie about that. But I did not kill Rosemary, and I don't deserve to be punished for that.
Temple says it was Leslie who killed Rosemary. According to his story, Leslie was at the condo waiting for him to come home, to have a secret tryst. But Rosemary came home first. Temple says Leslie pretended she was there to pick up a computer disk, but Rosemary didn't believe her.
She said she turned around to leave, and out of the corner of her eye, she said Rose attacked her. Then they started struggling, pulling hair. When she was wrestling around with Rose, Rose knocked her back on the bed. Rose was on top of her, and they rolled so hard that they rolled right off the edge of the bed onto the floor. When they landed, Rose hit the floor first. Leslie was on top of her, and she thought Rose had knocked herself out because she wasn't moving anymore. But when she got up, she saw the knife sticking in Rose.
Well, let's just look at it simply. He was 9 years ago declaring and promising that he had nothing to do with it. So it goes to show you what a liar he is. So I'm going to believe what he's got to say now.
I would submit to you that Robert Temple is a desperate man who has spent a life manipulating individuals, and he is desperately trying to manipulate this situation.
For her part, Stewart may receive immunity from prosecution in a deal struck with the state attorney's office.
We hammered out, in essence, a gentleman's agreement. The gentleman's agreement dealt with 3 primary issues. Number 1, that she testified truthfully. Number 2, that she had nothing to do with the actual homicide. And number 3, and probably most importantly, is that she helped produce or find Rosemary's body.
Rosemary's friends feel a sense of closure, but they're also eager to see Robert Temple punished.
Should it be death or should it be life in prison? I'm almost swaying now towards life in prison because, from what I understand, those circumstances are not the most pleasant.
Robert Temple looks forward to his day in court, where he will be able to face his accuser, the woman who he claims is Rosemary's killer.
But I'll be damned if I'm just going to lay down and die until people know the truth.
Honestly, I believe that I'm going to be found not guilty. And I know a lot of people think that I did something bad to her, but I didn't. And that's the honest to God truth. And just because Leslie and I stayed together doesn't mean that I forgot about Rose. I never forgot about Rose. I've got her picture now in my billfold the whole 9 years that we were gone. I always carried a picture of Rose. I always did.
as Rosemary's friends' lives go on, they carry their memories of Rosemary deep in their hearts.
Rosemary was the most kind, loyal, devoted person. She didn't deserve to have this end. And as again, I'm glad, I'm very that it's all over and she's happy.
Brittany Drexel disappeared on April 25th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Brittany Drexel's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenager from Rochester, New York sneaks away for spring break without her parents' permission.
Brittany, she liked to play both of us. You know, if mom said no, dad said yes.
Being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
While walking back to her hotel, she suddenly vanishes.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Have recent problems at home pushed her to the breaking point?
That was a warning that I need help.
What or who could have led Brittany so far from home?
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt?
I met Brittany, I believe I was 15, she was 14. We became best friends, got to know each other, and been so close ever since.
She used to like to joke around a lot, laugh. Just her smile just made you smile back.
She was such a fun-loving girl and just smiling all the time.
April 22nd, 2009. It's spring break for high school students in Rochester, New York, and with a long winter barely behind them, 17-year-old Brittany Drexel is ready for some warm sunshine. It's a long-standing rite of passage in the Rochester area for high school seniors to spend part of the week-long break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Just kids, no parental supervision.
There was about 30 to 40 kids going down to Myrtle Beach, and it's kind of a tradition for them to go down there. It's just like any other tourist area. You got hotels, you got shops. Those kids are going down there, drinking, doing drugs, partying, going out to night spots, and laying out on the beach.
Brittany, a high school junior, is friendly with some older kids who ask her to join them for the trip down to Myrtle Beach.
She had asked me if she could go to Myrtle Beach, and I had told her no. And I also told her, you need to talk to your father. I know he wouldn't have allowed her to go, but, you know, she still needed to talk to both of us. And, you know, Brittany, she liked to play both of us. If mom said no, dad said yes.
Dawn and Chad Drexel have recently decided to divorce. Their separation has taken a toll on Brittany and her two siblings.
That Tuesday, Dawn called, 8-ish or something at night. Said, your daughter's not listening to me. She's bringing up the spring break. She wants to go down.
According to Chad, Brittany had recently been sleeping late and skipping school. In his mind, it was no time for her to be going on vacation without parental supervision.
So I told her, Brittany, what's going on? Where are you telling your mother that you want to go to spring break? You're not going anywhere. Silence. She didn't say nothing. Do you understand me, Brittany? Yeah.
The next afternoon, Wednesday, the dispute continues. Brittany is so upset, she storms out of the house. She calls her boyfriend, John Greco, and asks him to pick her up. John, who has been dating Brittany on and off for over 2 years, knows how much Brittany wants to get away for spring break.
Her junior year was a tough year for her. She was dealing with her family being in a divorce. Any problem that me and her would have would escalate the anxiety that she was carrying.
Brittany's close friend Tara has seen how hard junior year has been for her classmate.
She just wanted to hang out with her friends, just not have to stay home. She wanted to go away for spring break. She wanted to just be able to have fun for a week outside of Rochester.
In the months before her disappearance, Brittany has had her share of problems. She overdosed twice on her mom's pain medication. Both times are after a major breakup with John. Brittany's father believes she was feeling the strain of her parents' divorce as well.
In my heart, I felt like this is all my fault because I left the house and now all these things are happening. I went straight to the hospital. They pumped her. She didn't take as many as everyone thought. But that was a warning that I need help.
I could remember the look on her face. Her face was just all red, and she was just crying. Tears were just coming down her face, and I looked at her and I said, Britt, why would you do this? Why? Nothing in life is that bad to do this.
Brittany began seeing a counselor and eventually reconciled with John. This kind of troubling behavior was unusual for her. Brittany had been a carefree child. She talked about becoming a nurse and was also passionate about soccer.
She was just the fastest on that field, no matter what team she played. It's the one thing that every coach always said was, I've never seen a girl that fast.
Brittany, she's energetic, happy-go-lucky. She was the type of person that would walk into a room, no matter if it was the most depressing day of the week, she would light up that room.
But Brittany's fun-loving spirit is dampened on Wednesday, April 22nd, when her mother refuses her request to go to Myrtle Beach for spring break. Brittany vents to her boyfriend, John, after leaving the house in a huff.
When Brittany had told her mom that she wanted to go to South Carolina, her mom, obviously being a parent, said, no way, you're not going to South Carolina. You're 17 years old. And Brittany retaliated. She got into a fight with her mom. Brittany gave me a call. I came and picked her up and took her to her friend's house.
Later that day, Brittany makes one last request to go to Myrtle Beach.
Well, she had to call and apologized how she acted that day. She says, Mom, can I go to Myrtle Beach? And I told her no. And she goes, why? And I said, Brittany, because first of all, I don't know the people that you're going with. I said, there's no parents. And I said, something's gonna happen. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Brittany then proposes a new idea for her spring break. She asks her mother if she can spend the rest of her vacation at a friend's house nearby. Her mother agrees. Brittany promises to stay in touch by cell phone over the next few days. But in reality, Brittany makes very different plans, which she shares with her boyfriend, John.
She said, you know, a bunch of my friends want me to go down to Myrtle Beach with them. And I told her, I think it's a good idea. I think you can get away from Rochester. I think it would do you good if you go down to South Carolina for 3 days. Because really, in my eyes, what was going to happen in 3 days?
Coming up, Brittany's boyfriend's words come back to haunt him.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Days before 17-year-old Brittany Drexel disappears, she has an emotional fight with her mother, Dawn, who has refused to let her go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break. Frustrated, Brittany asks to spend the rest of her vacation instead with a friend who lives nearby her home in Rochester, New York. Her mother agrees. But Brittany has no intention of staying in upstate New York. She decides to make the trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over 14 hours and 6 states away. She visits her boyfriend John at work before leaving.
It's a difficult memory for me to think about because I had that running in the back of my head, just as everybody does when they're saying goodbye to somebody for a period of time. I think, you know, what if this is the last time I see them? What if something happens? But then I pushed those thoughts to the side and thought, it's only 3 days.
Brittany leaves Rochester with 4 other friends, Wednesday night, hoping to be at the beach by the next morning.
The people that she went down with, I thought were trusting people. I didn't know them personally. She did ask me to come, and I could not go because I had work.
Over the next few days, Brittany and John are in constant contact via cell phone, sometimes texting several times an hour. She tells him that she is staying at a hotel on the beach called the Bar Harbor Hotel.
While she was down there, her first few texts were, "This weather is incredible." I mean, there's palm trees. Being out by the ocean, it was incredible.
But it isn't only the soft sand and inviting water that entice Brittany and her friends. With an abundance of bars and clubs, the area is a paradise for high schoolers enjoying independence for the first time. While the drinking age is 21, many of the clubs allow kids as young as 17 to enter.
The bars and the clubs down at Myrtle Beach, it's more based around money. They can get tons of teenagers to come in, and if they turn the blind eye to the fact that they're 16, 17 years old, they're still gonna make the money.
Brittany takes full advantage of her spring break freedom. She tells her mom that she's watching movies at her friend's house in Rochester, while sharing with John that she is having an amazing vacation hundreds of miles away.
She was having a ton of fun. She was out having a good time, living the spring break life. She was with a bunch of her friends, having a good time.
But by the second day, all that changes. Brittany starts feeling alienated from her friends.
Brittany had told me that they were using a lot of drugs. She wasn't into the drug scene, and therefore she tried to exclude herself from that, and she tried doing things on her own. She walked to the restaurant by herself. She walked down to the beach by herself. Clearly, being in South Carolina, being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
Early Friday evening, Brittany runs into a male friend from Rochester. 20-year-old Peter Brozowitz works for several local Rochester nightclubs. He's staying with some friends at the Blue Water Resort in Myrtle Beach, just a mile away from Brittany's hotel.
Peter Brozowitz was a kid who I didn't know personally, but Brittany did. He was always out at the parties at the clubs, so we became acquaintances through just the parties and knowing the same people. I assumed, being a good friend to Brittany, that he would watch over her.
On Saturday afternoon, Brittany's mom and sister, thinking that Brittany is at her friend's house in Rochester, call to say that they just bought her a new pair of soccer cleats. They ask about her plans that day, now that the weather has suddenly shot up into the 80s, unusually warm for Rochester in April.
I asked her where she is, and she says I'm at the beach. Now, it was a decent day here in Rochester, and I thought she was at Charlotte Beach.
Charlotte Beach in Rochester is just 20 minutes from Brittany's house. Dawn still believes that Brittany is nearby and is being supervised by her friend's parents.
I had talked to her and also had to talk to a parent. She had put someone on the phone, I don't know who that was, and, said that it was okay for Brittany to stay there. And I asked Brittany what she had planned on doing later. And she said, well, we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're just gonna watch movies and not do too much of anything.
Brittany tells her mom that she'll return home the next day and thanks her for letting her spend the past few days with her friends.
She goes, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I love you. And I said, okay, I love you too. And then we hung up.
A seemingly normal conversation will soon take on tragic significance. It becomes the last time Dawn talks to her daughter before she disappears. Meanwhile, Brittany decides to meet up with her friend Peter. Before she goes, she borrows a pair of shorts from one of her friends. At around 8 o'clock, Brittany texts John en route to meet Peter at the Blue Water Resort. She continues to report that she is having a miserable time and that she is looking forward to coming home the next day.
She hated being down there, and she didn't like the people she went down with.
Shortly after arriving at the Blue Water Resort, Brittany receives a text from her friend saying she wants her shorts back so she can wear them that night. Annoyed, Brittany tells Peter she has to walk back to her hotel, which is over a mile down the road. She texts John as she leaves.
And it was, I can't wait to come home. I can't wait to see you. I'm so angry at everybody down here. I said, I think that you should have a good time. Just try to relax. It's your last night. Try to enjoy it. You're down there anyways. You might as well try to enjoy it before you come home and get back to school.
Brittany and John text each other as she leaves the Blue Water Resort. But then, something strange happens. She stops responding to his messages.
I knew that something was up about 10 to 20 minutes later, but a half an hour later was when I really began to start freaking out. Me and Brittany talked every 10 minutes on the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
An hour later, John is worried. He threatens to tell her mom the truth about where Brittany really is if she doesn't text him back.
I called Brittany, and there was no response. So I texted her, and I said, if she didn't get in contact with me, I was gonna call her mom. And I was gonna break the news to the family that she was down in South Carolina. A couple minutes went by, she didn't text me back, didn't call me back.
Meanwhile, Dawn Drexel, Brittany's mother, is just returning home after having dinner with a few friends when she gets the call from John.
Her mom said, I'm gonna kill her. Like, there's no way that she went behind my back and did this without letting me know about it. And she was initially very angry, as any parent would be if they found out their kid was 14 hours away.
It wasn't registering until it started to sink in and I was thinking about it. Well, my heart dropped. I mean, what do you mean you can't find my daughter? And I started freaking out.
As soon as Dawn gets off the phone with John, she desperately tries to get in touch with Brittany.
When we were first texting her and calling her that night that she went missing, it would keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then it started just to go to voicemail.
When I finished up work, it was 11 o'clock at night, and I got in my car and I headed right to Brittany's house. And I walked in the door, and the whole family was sitting at the table. And I sat down and started to explain what happened.
Dawn calls the Rochester police, but they can't do much from upstate New York. So John reaches out to a friend of Brittany's in North Carolina, who drives straight to Myrtle Beach to file a missing persons report with local police. Meanwhile, Brittany's family and friends continue trying to reach her by phone, but each call goes straight to voicemail. The next morning, Brittany's mom, boyfriend, grandparents, and 2 friends head down to Myrtle Beach to search for Brittany, while her father, Chad, looks after her siblings.
Here I am driving down to Myrtle Beach, and I am just beside myself, thinking, how could this happen to my daughter? Where is she? Am I going to be able to find her?
Coming up, investigators get a break when they discover surveillance footage that could help them find the missing teen. 17-year-old Brittany Drexel has slipped off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break, unbeknownst to her parents. At about 9 p.m., Saturday, April 25th, she's walking to her hotel while texting her boyfriend John, when suddenly her texts stop. Brittany is not seen or heard from again. Myrtle Beach Police Lieutenant Joseph Kapp and Detective Vincent Dorio head the investigation. As police begin the search for Brittany, her mother, her boyfriend John, her grandparents, and 2 friends are still en route from Rochester, New York to Myrtle Beach.
Trip down to South Carolina, I don't think anybody slept. It was extremely difficult because we knew that we're going down there to search for Brittany missing. It almost was a step out of reality. It was almost like this couldn't be happening.
Brittany has been missing about 12 hours. Myrtle Beach police launch an intensive search, fanning out in all directions from the hotel where Brittany was last seen. They canvass beaches and local hotels, looking for possible leads. Police find the friends with whom Brittany traveled from Rochester. They tell detectives they haven't been able to reach her since she disappeared and have no idea where she could be. When Brittany's mother meets with Myrtle Beach investigators, they ask her about Brittany's home life.
They thought she ran away. And I know my daughter didn't run away. I mean, she was going to be 18. She felt like she was a grown-up. She was also looking at colleges and things like that.
No indication that she did a lot of drinking or anything of that nature while she was here.
Her brother and sister, she loves to death, and she would never leave them. Never up and leave them, willingly.
The morning after Brittany's last contact with her boyfriend, John, Myrtle Beach police are still hopeful this case will resolve quickly, like so many other spring break missing persons cases.
Especially with kids, they'll go and sit on the beach and talk. They lose track of time is generally what happens.
Detective Dorio and Lieutenant Cap begin to work a lead. They learn that Peter Brozowitz, the young man Brittany went to see the night before, left town with his buddies at about 2 a.m. that morning, about 5 hours after Brittany vanished.
It appeared that they had left suddenly in the night. They had forgotten clothing and they didn't get a deposit. And I mean, these contributing factors appeared to be very, very suspicious.
As soon as Peter arrives back in Rochester, he is quick to acquire the representation of a criminal defense attorney. Investigators begin piecing together Brittany's last hours. On the way from her hotel to visit Peter and his friends at the Blue Water Resort, a traffic camera captures her walking and texting at about 8:15 p.m.
We do see her, she's walking alone and using her phone. And we verify that she was calling the people that she was going to visit to try and find the location of the motel.
According to Peter, Brittany left his room shortly after she arrived to go back to her hotel and return the pair of shorts to her friend. Detective Dorio checks the surveillance tapes of the Blue Water Resort. They verify Peter's story.
We get her going through the motel's front lobby doors, and then a short time later, exiting the motel and going northbound towards her motel.
Detective Dorio can now pinpoint the time Brittany left the Blue Water Resort, 8:48 p.m. Police estimate it should have taken Brittany about 15 minutes to reach the traffic camera on the return trip to her hotel.
Reviewing the tape on the traffic camera, we learned that Brittany never made it that far.
Somewhere between the Blue Water Resort and her own hotel, Brittany vanishes. Police continue to question Peter, the last known person to see Brittany Drexel. They're curious about his departure in the middle of the night, shortly after Brittany disappeared.
Peter totally cooperated with us. I mean, yes, he got an attorney, but he and his attorney were straightforward.
Peter tells them one of his friends was pressured by his mother to return to Rochester as soon as possible.
We followed up on all the information, what they told us they had done.
After investigating Peter's story, police find no evidence that he and his friends had anything to do with Brittany's disappearance. Unfortunately, investigators have no other leads on what may have happened to her, but they do obtain Brittany's cell phone records. What they find is not what they expect. The last known location of her cell phone is over an hour away in a very unwelcoming area. Coming up, is Brittany still alive?
It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
While Myrtle Beach police search the city for 17-year-old Brittany Drexel, Detective Vincent Dorio is investigating the last minutes before she disappears. On April 25th, 2009, what should have been the last night of her vacation, Brittany vanishes after visiting her friend Peter at the Blue Water Resort.
She was still in Myrtle Beach.
Graham Moore, a local reporter, has been tracking Brittany's case since her disappearance.
They were in the hotel room. I don't think she was there that long. She got a call from her friend saying, hey, can you bring me back my shorts? She left there, from what I understand. She was texting with her boyfriend.
The Blue Water's surveillance tapes show Brittany leaving at 8:48 p.m. But Brittany never appears on footage from a traffic camera along the way, returning to her hotel. Now, with her cell phone records in hand, detectives hope to learn what happened during those crucial few minutes.
At 8:58, she writes back to John, no, I'm staying in, packing, and going to sleep, probably. At that point, John asks, why babe, why boo?
According to Brittany's cell phone records, this exchange with John, her boyfriend back in Rochester, occurs 10 minutes after she leaves the Blue Water Resort. She is supposed to be walking back to her hotel, just over a mile away. But the records show that suddenly, all outbound activity from Brittany's phone stops after this text.
About 9:15, he starts writing back again, hey, why aren't you answering me? I'm concerned. At that point, that's when he starts text messaging her over and over. Where are you? You okay?
John texts some of the friends who traveled with Brittany to see if they can reach her, giving investigators their next lead.
And they start making calls, and that's how we're able to start tracking her as the phone is going southbound.
Anytime one of her friends called Brittany, her cell phone would ping or communicate with the nearest cell phone tower. This tells investigators the approximate location of Brittany's phone at that moment. Although she is supposed to be heading north towards her hotel, at 9:27 p.m., about 30 minutes after her last text, the data reveals that Brittany's phone is heading southbound on Route 17. Her phone is pinging cell towers in an area called Surfside Beach, almost 7 miles south of Myrtle Beach. It would take 2 hours to walk there, and about 15 minutes by car.
The phone itself, because we're not sure if she was separated from the phone, was moving at a high enough rate of speed that it was in a vehicle.
Police aren't sure if the cell phone battery then dies or if it gets destroyed. But at 11:58 p.m., just 3 hours after Brittany's last text to John, her phone last pings tower number 332. It's located 2 counties and over 50 miles south of Myrtle Beach, near Georgetown County.
If you look at the timeline of the cell phone, made this 50-mile trek in a relatively short period of time. So it wasn't like it meandered down through the night. That cell phone made a beeline for Georgetown County.
The area is near the North Santee River, around the Pole Yard boat landing. It's an isolated, rural spot.
This right here is off the beaten path. There's nothing but country surrounding this area. The folks that would know it are fishermen or some of the locals from the town of Georgetown, maybe just across the river.
A 17-year-old from Rochester, New York is not going to end up at Pole Yard boat landing on a Saturday night during her spring break. It's a very rural part of the county, surrounded by water.
Myrtle Beach police launched their search here, in the area covered by cell phone tower number 332.
This right here is in the cell phone zone. It's about 4 miles wide, 5 miles deep. They staged here. The searchers then branched out to other likely zones.
The terrain in these parts is notoriously forbidding.
We have alligators in the river. There are wild hogs, plenty of snakes, lots of biting insects. It's not a very hospitable place for anybody to be at.
You can't imagine the conditions searchers had to go through. Flies the size of golf balls. Very hot, very humid, very thick brush. A lot of dangerous wildlife.
After investigators conduct an initial search and find no trace of Brittany, local police and other agencies join forces to expand the effort.
Because of the phone, it goes through Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston County. So we have 3 different large agencies working this together.
Georgetown and Charleston furnished their boats with their sonar, and we checked the rivers. Charleston County had their helicopter there.
They did a massive ground search. They were running their ATVs through there every 20 minutes to get the alligators to back off so the dogs could come through. They had 6 shooters with their dogs because of the boar. I mean, it was just very dangerous.
While investigators comb the area, Dawn and Brittany's other loved ones hold out hope for some sign of Brittany.
There's a lot of questions going through my mind. It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
It was very intense. There were long days. There was a lot of ground covered. There was a lot of hope in the beginning that something was going to be found. It was about a week long of just intense searching, hundreds of volunteers out there, looking for that cell phone, looking for any clue of Brittany.
Monica Kaysen, director of the Q Center for Missing Persons, a family advocacy group that assembles volunteer search parties, is called in to help.
We were going in the first 11 days that Brittany disappeared. We searched sunup to sundown every day. All of the probable areas that people enter, the probable areas someone could have pulled offside the road, dirt roads with nobody lives on them at all.
Authorities know that the treacherous wildlife gives Brittany a slim chance of survival.
The urgency was there to get her before the wild animals did.
You know, there's always going to be hope. But while we're doing these searches, we certainly had numerous cadaver dogs.
When they had been doing this search, they had told me, they said if she's in this area, she would have been ate within 6 hours. You know, and I felt like they're thinking she's not alive, which scared me even more. I mean, you become frantic. I mean, you never think of your child going before you do.
The search teams find no sign of Brittany. Investigators continue combing the area and looking for leads, while Brittany's family and friends return to Rochester.
Coming home without Brittany was very, very difficult. I came home, her little brother Camden came over to my house and he goes, "I thought you were bringing Britt home." And I just looked at him and I was like, "I'm so sorry. She's not with me." Her little brother and her little sister asked me, "Where is she? Why isn't she with you?" And being as young as they are, it's hard to tell them answers.
I came back home and I walked upstairs and I had her pictures up. I had her clothes folded on my bed. I had like all of her stuff still reminding me it's not a dream. It's not made up in my imagination. Brittany's really missing.
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt and die? If that happened, how do I explain it to my little one? How do I do that? That Daddy can keep you safe from that. How do I do that? I just tell her that I will be here for you, that I'm not going to leave any of you guys.
Coming up, the investigation into Brittany's disappearance seems completely stalled until 8 months after she goes missing, when a potential clue finally emerges.
A week-long search for missing spring breaker Brittany Drexel turned up a possible piece of evidence in her disappearance.
It has been close to 8 months since 17-year-old Brittany Drexel vanished while on spring break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Police have no promising leads in the case. Finally, in mid-December, investigators get a tip. It prompts them to search an area just north of where they had previously traced Brittany's cell phone. They scour the banks of the Santee River, surrounded by swamps and alligators.
The Georgetown County had asked us to check out an area that was a tip called in. We went over there to check it out. During that search, we were notified that the sunglasses were found.
While combing the area, authorities get an intriguing lead. a pair of sunglasses that could be Brittany's is spotted on the muddy embankment of the Santee River.
On the second day of that search, a man and his wife were on a boat. They had docked along the riverbank there, went to collect some firewood and came across a pair of sunglasses. They had seen the night before on the news that searchers were out there looking for a missing girl, and they thought it was odd, the place that they found these sunglasses. They found these sunglasses on a pretty desolate part of the riverbank. Investigators were pretty hopeful when they found them.
Brittany's mom wants to believe that the glasses could be her daughter's.
I had seen what the sunglasses look like, and I know Brittany had gotten a pair for Easter.
But others are skeptical they belong to Brittany.
I don't recognize them. It doesn't mean that when she was down there, she didn't buy them.
It was months and months after her disappearance. So why all of a sudden are glasses showing up there that don't have all the mud, all the weathered activity on it, the leaves, the branches, all that? It could just be they had hikers and someone lost them out of their backpack.
Since the sunglasses turn up a few miles from where the teams have resumed searching, those close to Brittany's case question whether the appearance of this potential clue might be calculated.
Someone may have put them there that has been getting some heat from the authorities and wanted to try to bring the search elsewhere from this property or this area to this area now.
Were they meant to be found? I feel confident that, if someone did put them there, that they wanted to be found.
Investigators send the glasses to forensics for testing.
They sent them off to see if they could collect DNA off of them to make any sort of match. And from what I've been told, there was no DNA on the glasses. Again, another dead end for Dawn Drexel and Brittany's family.
In early April, a few weeks before the one-year anniversary of Brittany's disappearance, police announced that they have identified 3 to 4 persons of interest in the case.
The people that we're looking at, I feel really good about. All of our little pieces of evidence, they haven't been tied in yet, but they're all pointing in the same direction, towards certain people.
Detectives will not reveal more information, yet they say they now believe this is no longer a missing persons case, but a homicide. However, Detective Dorio still needs more to file charges.
Just a matter of time now before everything gets put together and we can say, yes, here's a solid arrest.
While investigators continue pursuing the case, Dawn Drexel has her own theory and believes Brittany may have been abducted.
I think Brittany's still alive. I think somebody's holding her against her will. I've heard a lot about human trafficking. Anybody can be a trafficker. That person could be somebody that you meet and become friends with. It could be somebody that promises you, a modeling career, or you can make this much money, or anything.
If you know Brittany, if you're close to Brittany, you gotta watch out for her. You cannot let her just walk around by herself because she thinks that nothing can hurt her. She's too trusting of people, and you need to watch out for her.
However, authorities are skeptical that this is a human trafficking case.
We've got no indication. We've had no history. Most of your human trafficking, they target victims where there's a language barrier, and generally where human trafficking takes place, it continues to take place. We've had nothing prior or since that would be an indicator.
Human trafficking in South Carolina is not a problem that I know about, at least. Being from South Carolina, you never hear about human trafficking.
We can't eliminate it, but it's certainly not at the forefront of our investigation.
In an effort to generate new leads in the investigation, police released to the media a new and important piece of evidence.
There is some new information in the disappearance of a New York teenager who vanished nearly a year ago on a spring.
A video of Brittany Drexel, shot just 24 hours before she disappeared.
Hey, Brett.
What?
A college student from the Midwest, who had also been vacationing in Myrtle Beach, shot this video on the night of Friday, April 24th, after befriending Brittany along Ocean Boulevard.
there were some kids that were antagonizing her because she was a really pretty girl. Some kids were yelling at her and antagonizing her, and so she asked some kid, you know, will you walk with me, so that they stopped yelling towards me.
They talked and they went to her motel room, and he did a short video clip of her while they were talking. And it was confirmed that it was, in fact, Brittany.
Investigators verified that the student has an alibi and has no knowledge of Brittany's whereabouts.
Once he was aware that he had video, he and his family contacted us and relinquished the video to us.
Brittany Drexel has yet to be found.
The video receives national attention.
Now, never-before-seen images have surfaced from the night before she disappeared.
A boy she had met on spring break shot this cell phone video at a hotel.
Unfortunately, nothing emerges that enables police to make an arrest. Back in Rochester, Brittany's loved ones struggle to make some sense out of her disappearance. They try to move on with their lives while honoring Brittany.
At this point, I'm advocating for Brittany, but I'm also trying to get the awareness out to all these parents that think that this could never happen to their child. Teenagers, you know, they think they're invincible and that this could never happen, but these parents need to know that this happens all the time and have them be aware.
I am now studying criminal justice because I want to help find girls who are missing, and I want to be the person who is able to catch that person who has done it. And I'm going to be the best that I can be, so I can be that person that will give those families justice.
Brittany's family and friends do not give up hope that one day they will hear from her again.
We just miss her to our souls and wish her to come home. Obviously, it's my little girl, but this isn't about me. This is about her brother and her sister. They need her. We all need her, but they need her.
We need Brett back home. We really do. I just miss her a lot.
We don't know what happened when she walked out of that hotel and she walked up on that boulevard. Was somebody following her? Was somebody planning on harm my daughter? Just not knowing is the most horrible thing.
After a lifetime of struggle, 22-year-old Jamie Fraley was on the brink of achieving all her life's goals.
She was thriving, and she just seemed like she was really going down a good path.
She was in love and she was very happy.
But then, Jamie misses an important appointment near her Gaston, North Carolina home and is never heard from again.
The day we went into Jamie's apartment and saw her pocketbook and keys, I knew something was wrong.
Did Jamie walk out on her new life?
There was no sign of forced entry or anything, leaving individuals to believe that wherever she had gone willingly.
Or was there a more sinister motive behind her disappearance?
His obsession with Jamie was more sexually in his mind.
Just when police think they're close to cracking the case, a gruesome discovery changes everything.
I did not see anything like this coming.
She could save the world.
Even better, Jamie has met the boy of her dreams, Ricky Simons Jr.
Jamie loved Ricky so much. Jamie was just Ricky Dale crazy. I mean, she was just head over heels in love with him.
She even refers to herself as Mrs. Simons on her MySpace page.
She was in love and she was very happy. She never let me even think that something was wrong in her life. You know, I just would have never thought that.
But life hadn't always been so happy for Jamie.
Jamie had health issues from the time that she was born. I had a really hard time bringing her into the world, and we both almost died.
Jamie was actually clinically dead when she was born. They had to do CPR on her. Then they said Jamie wouldn't live, and then she made it a year. Then they said she wouldn't make it to 3, and she just beat the odds. She was a miracle.
As she got older, Jamie continued to surpass the doctor's expectations. But she still struggled with health and developmental issues associated with her difficult birth.
She couldn't gain weight for a long time.
She was frail and dependent.
Then, when she turned 18, Jamie was diagnosed as bipolar.
She really didn't take it seriously. She wasn't taking her medicine. She took it at first, and then she told me that it made her feel funny. She wasn't taking it anymore.
Bipolar disorder, along with her other health issues, made it difficult for Jamie to pass her driver's license test. And so she felt she had no choice but to live at home with her mother.
Jamie depended on me for everything because, you know, she had had so many issues in her life.
But as she got older, Jamie longed for independence. And when she turns 21, she sets out to get it.
When she got older and she was on Social Security supplementary income, Jamie was assigned a provider to help her with her bills, show her how to keep her bank account, take her to where she needed to go, to her doctor's appointments.
And it was hard for us, the whole family, to let her go and try to make it on her own.
Having never finished high school, Jamie enrolls in nearby Gaston College to study for her GED and start planning her future.
She had really came a long way. She was thriving, and she just seemed like she was really going down a good path.
She was doing great. She was just doing her everyday life. She was involved in church real heavy.
It's while attending church that Jamie discovers what she wants to do with her life.
There was a program there on Friday nights for addiction. Jamie had a friend that had gotten bad into drugs. It was someone that we knew since Jamie was a little girl. Jamie got close to her because she wanted to help her to get off drugs. And that's where that started. And then she started going to the church, getting an idea of how AA works.
By 2007, everything in Jamie's life seems to be on track. And just when it looks like things can't get any better, she meets Ricky Dale Simons Jr.
She had got in an altercation with someone, and Ricky Jr. came to her defense.
And then he stepped in and saved her, you know, so that to her, well, he's my hero.
The son of her apartment building's maintenance man, Ricky Jr. seems just as crazy about Jamie as she is about him.
Jamie called me and told me she had a new boyfriend, and, you know, that they were planning on getting married.
Jamie sounded very happy at the time when she told me about her getting married. I was happy for her.
Jamie was just ecstatic over Ricky. I've not ever heard her speak of anyone else in that way.
But in early January 2007, Ricky is convicted of felony larceny. Because of a lengthy record of previous larceny charges, Ricky is sent away to prison for 15 months.
She'd said that he was in jail, and it really bothered me and disturbed me. And I asked her, I said, Jamie, you know, you really want to think about this? You know, you don't want to jump into this.
Ricky Jr. does have drug issues. If you go back and look at Ricky Jr., criminal record, possession of stolen goods, larceny, things like that, could use to buy the drugs with. That's their problem.
Despite her family's reservations, Jamie is resolute in her love for Ricky.
Nothing you could say or do to stop her. Don't say anything bad about him.
She wrote him every day for 15 months straight, every single day. And every time I visit her, you know, she'll be writing, and she'll have thousands and thousands of pieces of paper, you know, scattered everywhere. Because she wanted to be perfect, to send Ricky in jail.
Jamie spends most of the time waiting for Ricky Jr.'s return with his father, Rick Sr., and his girlfriend, Kim Sprenger.
When they were living all at the apartment complex, they were very close. They hung out a lot together. Jamie went over to the apartment a lot, and they would cook together.
Jamie mentioned that he would just take her places. It was Ricky Jr.'s father, and it was one day going to be her father-in-law. He looked after Jamie somewhat. He would run her to the store. Jamie did not have a driver's license. He would be there for her if she called him.
She came dependent on Rick when Rick Jr. was locked up. She came very dependent on him.
On the morning of April 8th, 2008, Jamie wakes up with a terrible stomachache. As the morning progresses, the pain in her stomach intensifies, and she calls her provider to drive her to the ER. At the hospital, she is diagnosed with the flu and sent home.
Jamie called me on April the 8th. I was at my sister's house. I talked to her. She said she wasn't feeling well, that they had gave her some medication at the hospital. Jamie sounded like she was kind of frustrated. She thought the hospital had gave her the wrong diagnosis.
Jamie spends the rest of the day in bed, but her stomachache only gets worse. Despite feeling so sick, Jamie still fulfills her commitment to take care of Kim Sprenger's dog. Kim has recently split up with Rick Sr.
Kim would bring her dog over for Jamie to babysit.
When Kim arrives in the early afternoon to pick up the dog, she finds Jamie sick in bed. After taking some time to make her more comfortable, she offers to drop off Jamie's prescription at the drugstore. Jamie never picks up the medication. And by the time night falls, Jamie is so sick, she decides she needs to go back to the hospital.
She had Rick to take her back to the hospital, and Jamie was impatient, and there was like a 3 or 4 hour wait, and so she decided she wasn't going to wait.
But when she calls Rick Sr. to pick her up, he does not answer his cell phone, so Jamie has to get another friend to bring her home.
I called her. I'm wanting to say it was close to midnight. She said that she had been throwing up. She told me that, you know, she kind of had the chills.
Jamie's mother offers to pick her up and bring her to her house an hour away. But Jamie is determined to keep an appointment she had the following morning, close to her apartment.
She said, no, I don't want to come spend the night over there because I have an appointment in the morning with the Social Security office that I can't miss. And, you know, we're like, well, call us, you know, if you need us. And, I love you. Bye. No. The last time I spoke to her.
After hanging up with her mother, Jamie continues to call friends and write emails, including a quick note to her friend Linda's son.
He was at Iraq at the time, and he just described to me that, you know, she wanted to know how he was doing. There was nothing in that email that would give him a hint that anything was wrong at all.
This is the last email Jamie sends before she disappears. Coming up, an ominous call from Jamie's provider sends her family into a panic.
Her provider calls me and says, I can't even get her to the door and I can't get her on the phone.
After a childhood fraught with health issues, 22-year-old Jamie Fraley seemed to be on her way to having it all. love, independence, and a career she was passionate about. But on April 8th, 2008, she comes down with a horrible stomachache that sends her to the hospital twice.
Jamie was sick, but I believe she thought she would be better in the morning, and she wanted to make sure she made that appointment.
The appointment at the Social Security office represented another milestone in Jamie's progress.
Jamie's appointment for the Social Security was to see if money could be turned over to her, seeing that she was trying the independent living and that she could handle her own money.
When Jamie's family doesn't hear from her the morning of her appointment, they assume she's feeling better.
The next morning, I'm thinking Jamie's at the Social Security office.
We did not call Jamie the next day. It wasn't unusual to go a little while without talking to her.
On the morning of April 10th, Jamie's mother receives a troubling call.
Her provider, who was supposed to pick her up for her appointment, calls me and says, I went to pick Jamie up for her appointment yesterday, and I can't even get her to the door, and I can't get her on the phone. She waited a whole day to tell me this.
According to the provider, she had knocked repeatedly on Jamie's door, and after failing to get a response, eventually left.
She's like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, we're gonna call the police. Because she had been sick, we're thinking, she can't get up or be hurt. She is bipolar. She has been sick.
The police send an officer to Jamie's apartment to do a welfare check and make sure Jamie isn't hurt.
We were contacted by Jamie's mother, Kim Fraley, advised that she hadn't spoken to Jamie possibly 2 days. Patrol units went out to the residence and checked her apartment. Did not see anything that seemed out of the ordinary.
Police make note of her bipolar disorder, but surmise that Jamie just stepped out for a bit and will show up later.
There was no sign of forced entry or anything, leaving individuals to believe that wherever she had gone willingly, and there was no signs of a struggle or anything that would indicate otherwise.
But despite the officer's claims that nothing looks amiss, Jamie's mother, aunt, and cousin decide to head to the apartment and look around for themselves.
We went to the apartment. The apartment was locked, but her house keys and purse were still sitting in the apartment. She had a habit of going outside, sticking her cell phone in her back pocket. If it was just to go over to the neighbors, something like that. If she was just going somewhere shortly, but it was unusual.
Next, the women make their way to the bedroom.
You knew that she had been sick on her stomach. It was everywhere.
After seeing just how sick Jamie was that night, her mother is even more alarmed by Jamie's absence.
I don't see Jamie walking in the middle of the night by herself, sick and throwing up. No, I don't see it.
And there are a few other subtle clues in the apartment that reinforce her mother's feeling that something isn't right.
At the top of her stairs, there was no shoelaces in the shoes. And it seemed really, really weird. That was the shoes Jamie always wears, besides her flip-flops. Never known her to not wear laces in her shoes.
The women immediately call the police back.
We were contacted again by Jamie's family at that time. Patrol units went back out to the residence, checked her apartment again with her aunt. It didn't suggest that anything of foul play or foul nature took place.
They told us that she was an adult, she could go missing if she wanted to, and that she would probably return home.
While the police are searching the apartment, the women wait in the parking lot and continue to call Jamie's cell phone.
We tried to call her, but I didn't get an answer.
But finally, someone picks up. Unfortunately, the voice on the other end isn't Jamie's.
And a man answered it, and we're like, who are you, and why do you have her phone?
Coming up, investigators discover Jamie was keeping a secret.
What really got me was that Jamie knew and did not tell us.
Jamie Fraley hasn't been seen or heard from in 2 days. While the petite 22-year-old's apartment doesn't display any overt signs of foul play, her family is sure that something has happened to Jamie.
The day we went into Jamie's apartment and saw her pocketbook and keys, I knew something was wrong.
Her family has repeatedly tried to call her cell phone, with no luck. But on April 10th, 2008, someone finally picks up.
We kept calling her phone, and a man answered it. It's like, well, I'm the cable man. I was over here working on the cable lines, and I heard his phone ringing down on the ground, and I just picked it up. When I heard that, it's like you automatically know something's not right, you know, and I just fell down into the parking lot and started screaming.
An officer is immediately sent out to recover the phone.
The phone was found in the roadway, the north-south lane off of South New Hope. It was found in the middle of the roadway, scuffed up.
By all accounts, Jamie was never without her cell phone.
First thing I thought when her phone was found on the side of the road, it's like, that ain't Jamie. At one time, she did have 2 house phones and 2 cell phones, just so little Rick can call her from prison. That ain't like Jamie.
Speaking with family and friends, Jamie always had her cell phone with her, so it led us to believe that either she lost the phone, tossed the phone, or someone might have tossed the phone that was not Jamie.
3 days after Jamie is last seen, police conduct a full-scale search of the wooded area where Jamie's phone was found.
The area around the phone was searched multiple times. Canines have been used. Areas around the apartment complex have been searched, as well as bodies of water.
There was no trace of Jamie anywhere besides just her phone.
Officers also questioned neighbors to see if they had noticed anything wrong in the days leading up to her disappearance.
They gave me a general overview of Jamie, that she's a nice person, lived alone, that she didn't drive, that she required a ride when she went to go to places. We actually spoke to a neighbor who advised that they saw her walk into her residence around midnight, and that was the last person we have found to say that they saw Jamie alive. There's nothing that we've collected from friends, family, and neighbors that would suggest that anything else was wrong that night.
One thing everyone comments on is that Rick Simon Sr. and Jamie spent a lot of time together.
Well, according to the investigation, they were quite friendly. They lived 2 doors down from each other. She was dating Mr. Simon Sr.'s son, who was incarcerated at the time. And so the family connection was fairly obvious.
People said that Rick Simon Sr. helped Jamie a good bit with rides and things of that nature.
Investigators immediately asked Rick Sr. to come to the station for an interview.
In my conversation with Rick Sr., found him to be very cold, manipulative, didn't give much information, but he was cooperative in talking with us.
When he does a routine background check, Detective Bloom discovers that Rick Sr. has a violent criminal past.
Rick Sr. was an individual that's gotten in some trouble with the law through drug use, petty crimes. He was also charged with murder of a girlfriend years previous.
After serving just 6 years on a manslaughter conviction for strangling his ex-girlfriend to death, Rick Sr. had been released from prison for good behavior. But even after he gets out, he continues to be a regular presence at the police station.
Ricky Simon Sr. did have a long history of drug use and crimes such as larceny, burglaries, petty theft, that sort of thing. Drugs did have a large impact on his life, so he sought them out on a regular basis, and in order to support that type of activity, he had to be involved in some criminal activity.
I was surprised when I found out about Ricky Sr.'s background. I just wasn't aware of his drug use or his criminal background at all.
While her family may have been surprised, it appears that Jamie knew about Rick Sr.'s past.
About 8 or 9 months before Jamie disappeared is when I found out about Rick Sr. killing someone, about his past. And I didn't know whether to believe her or I just didn't know what to say to her. She seemed like she didn't want to believe it. Like she didn't believe it herself. She still put all this trust in the big Rick and, you know, depended on him so much.
And I know why Jamie didn't tell us, because that was Ricky Jr.'s father. Jamie gave everybody the benefit of the doubt. You know, everybody can change. You know, that was her way of thinking.
And Rick Sr.'s past wasn't the only thing Jamie was keeping from her family. She was also not telling them everything about his present situation.
I say it was months before Jamie disappeared. Kim and Rick's relationship started falling apart.
She had moved out. They had a volatile relationship.
And according to reports, the breakdown of Rick Sr. and Kim Sprenger's relationship may have had a lot to do with Jamie.
She would come home from work, and Jamie would be in the house alone with Rick Sr.
Coming up, was Rick Sr. getting too close to his son's girlfriend?
His obsession with Jamie, it didn't seem fatherly. It was more sexual in his mind.
22-year-old Jamie Fraley hasn't been seen or heard from in days.
We've determined that no financial activity has occurred since Jamie went missing on any of her credit and her financial resources. It does raise the level of concern in an investigation such as this as to Jamie's status.
Detectives scrambled to find a reason for the frail young woman's disappearance. Interviews with neighbors at Jamie's apartment complex point detectives in an unexpected direction.
During the course of the investigation, collected statements that Rick Simon Sr. said things about Jamie and to Jamie and that were more of a sexual nature that showed that he had an interest in her.
It seems Jamie Fraley may have played a central role in the demise of her future father-in-law's relationship with his girlfriend, Kim Sprenger.
When I was around Jamie and Rick Sr. both, I could tell like he was obsessed with Jamie. Rick Sr. is paying more attention to his daughter-in-law than he is his girlfriend.
Ms. Sprenger did explain to us that that was an issue during her relationship with Simon Sr. And she explained that to Rick. Ms. Sprenger said that that was a problem.
Rick Sr. had met Kim Sprenger when her husband, a wealthy architect, had hired him to do some maintenance work for their home design business. Their connection intensified, and 2 years later, Kim walked out on her husband and 3 children to move in with Rick in the apartment next door to Jamie's.
He was an intelligent man. As far as animal magnetism that women felt towards him, and speaking with people who had, females that had dealings with him, it was something that was unexplainable. But he did have that ability and that control over women.
And there is a darker bond tying Kim Sprenger to Rick Sr.
Both Rick Sr. and Kim Sprenger were addicts.
Jamie tries to help Rick Sr. and Kim overcome their addiction.
You should tell them that you're hurting yourself. How can you do this to yourself? You're putting yourself down. You're hurting your body. They were at Nor all the time.
But Jamie doesn't give up trying to rehab the couple and is a regular presence at Rick Sr. and Kim's house. According to investigators, after his son is sent to prison, Rick Sr. begins to act inappropriately toward Jamie.
Rick Sr., you know, he would just make these jokes around me and Jamie that it would give me this weird vibe off of him. Just like really perverted jokes. He would comment on, you know, what she was wearing, how short her shorts were, how low her top was. But he would comment it as if he liked it, you know. I'm pretty sure that he probably made moves on Jamie when Junior left.
He commented on some comments that he might have made that may have been uncomfortable. His relationship with his son wasn't the best relationship in the world. They did not see eye to eye on many occasions.
Then, in late 2007, 6 months before Jamie disappears, Kim decides to end the relationship.
Rumors and allegations did play some role, but I believe it was the drug use also that played a major role in their separation. Kim had told the police that she was trying to recover from her addiction, and Rick Sr. was not at that point in his life where he wanted to stop doing drugs.
According to family members, once Kim Springer moves out, Rick Sr. pays Jamie more attention than ever.
Jamie, you know, just laugh at his jokes, put it off like it didn't bother her. But if you looked into her eyes, you know, you can tell. I think she felt like I can handle him, you know.
3 days after Jamie disappears, as detectives discover the complexity of her relationship with Rick Sr., the results of her cell phone analysis return. Jamie's cell phone was handled by too many people to lift any viable prints, but phone records showed that the last time anyone spoke to Jamie was around midnight on April 8th.
During one of her last phone calls, she spoke to a friend in Albemarle. That friend in Albemarle said that Jamie was being picked up by someone in a truck, and from there, that was the last conversation that we know of.
Rick Sr. had already confirmed that he had taken Jamie to the hospital once that day. Police wonder, could he have been the ride Jamie spoke of?
Rick Sr. actually drove a white panel van that can be referred to as a truck.
Police speculate that if Rick Sr. gave Jamie a ride that night, then he would have been the last person to see her before she disappeared. Then, detectives get a call about a strange roadside discovery close to Jamie's apartment complex.
During the investigation, we had a phone call about a bag of trash that was located approximately 2.5 miles from Jamie Fraley's apartment complex. Patrol officers responded to that scene during the investigation, identified that trash bag as belonging to Ricky Simons Sr.
Mr. Simons advised that he had a flat tire, and he removed the trash in order to get to his spare. I definitely thought it was odd.
The bag is located 1.5 miles from where Jamie's cell phone was discarded.
If you connected the cell phone, the bag of trash, and the apartment complex, you would have a perfect triangle almost. It indicates the mode of travel or path of travel that Mr. Simons Sr. may have been taking.
Detectives aren't quite sure what to make of the trash bag. But as they gather more information, it seems increasingly clear to investigators that Rick Sr. had something to do with Jamie's disappearance.
Mr. Simons Sr. was probably the strongest person of interest at this point of the investigation.
When the police said Rick was the main person of interest in the case, I was confused about it because I didn't want to believe that, because I knew that they were supposedly friends. I mean, he spends so much time with her, you know, and they're close, and why would he want to hurt her? I could not fathom a reason of why he would want to hurt her.
When Rick Jr. gets out of prison 3 weeks after Jamie goes missing, he is devastated.
Ricky Jr. responded to Jamie's disappearance hard. He had no family member to go pick him up. So me and my sister and my brother-in-law went and picked him up and took him in. He was out daily looking for Jamie. I believe Ricky Jr. was serious about marrying Jamie.
He is furious to learn his father is the main person of interest in the disappearance of the girl he loves.
When Ricky Jr. found out that his father was the main person of interest, he was extremely angry at his father. He cooperated with the police and whatever they needed to know about his father. After Jamie went missing, he argued with his father constantly. Rick Sr. and Ricky Jr.'s relationship was bad.
While Rick Sr. is cooperative and comes in for an official interview, detectives are not convinced he's telling them everything. They have probable cause to obtain a warrant that allows them to track Rick Sr.'s movements.
A search warrant was issued and granted for Ricky Della Sr.'s vehicle to be tracked. It was tracked for, I believe, about a month. From there, we went back and checked the locations where Mr. Simons visited and searched those areas.
Detectives hope that if they follow Rick Sr., he will somehow lead them to Jamie. Instead, they find what they think is a disturbing pattern to his movements.
During the time that we were tracking Rick Sr.'s vehicle, he was in areas near Kim Springer's residence. It appeared that he was following Miss Springer, stalking her, if you will.
Police immediately notify Kim Springer that her ex-boyfriend Rick Sr. is stalking her.
She was advised to take out a restraining order against him.
He was known to have broken into her vehicle.
The day after the police warn her that Rick Sr. is watching her, Kim Springer files a restraining order.
First thing I thought, I was like, you know, he probably did have something to do with this, and Kim knows something. And he's probably gonna kill her. That's what came to my mind.
Coming up, a horrifying discovery turns the investigation on its head.
I did not see anything like this coming.
"22-year-old North Carolina native Jamie Fraley has been missing for nearly 2 months. Investigators think Ricky Dale Simons Sr., the father of Jamie's boyfriend, may have had something to do with her disappearance and have him under surveillance.
We were able to identify Ricky Simons Sr.'s travels, and through identifying those areas of travel and methods of travel and where he frequented, helped us lead us to areas of interest when it comes to Jamie's disappearance.
But police are alarmed when they discover what they believe to be an ominous pattern to the places he frequents.
Ricky Simons Sr. had been stalking Kim Springer.
They warn Kim Springer, who obtains a restraining order against Rick Sr. A month after taking out the restraining order, Kim is running errands when she notices a strange smell wafting through the car.
Miss Springer did notice something unusual, a smell in her vehicle, but wasn't able to pinpoint what that was.
Throughout the weekend, Kim is bothered by the smell. But it isn't until Sunday afternoon that she thinks to look in the trunk. She screams in horror when she realizes the source of the smell. It's Rick Sr.'s decomposing body.
We were advised that Mr. Simons was found in the trunk area of Miss Springer's vehicle.
When I found out about Rick Sr.'s death, I just went into total shock. I couldn't, I just started squalling. I was devastated. I wasn't devastated because of what happened to him. I was devastated because if he had any answers, I knew right then we would never know.
Police speculate that Rick Sr., Kim's ex-boyfriend, had been dead in the trunk for nearly 2 days before he was discovered.
Ricky Simons Sr. was determined to have died by hyperthermia, basically heat exhaustion or overheated in the trunk of the car.
He was intoxicated, also had drugs in his system.
Underneath the body, police make another disturbing find.
Personal belongings of Miss Springer's that had been taken previously from her vehicle were found in his possession, as well as a weapon. A knife was found inside the vehicle with Mr. Simon Sr.
Investigators wonder if Rick Sr. planned to attack Kim Springer, but got disoriented and accidentally locked himself in the trunk due to the combination of drugs in his system and the extreme heat of the day.
Prior to Mr. Simon's death, he made comments to friends that he was going to give Kim Springer the surprise of her life.
We would theorize or speculate that Ricky Simon Sr. was there to cause Miss Springer harm.
The death of Rick Simon Sr. is a major setback to the investigation into what happened to Jamie.
I talked to Rick Sr. on the phone a couple of times, and the only thing that stuck out to me, and still to this day it sticks with me, is a conversation that we had, and he said he had been doing some searching himself, and he said, well, you know, he said, maybe somebody's got her and just doesn't want to give her back. That has haunted me ever since.
Mr. Simon Sr.'s death closes out a source of information, and quite possibly a source who may have had the last contact with Jamie. And so his death does have a large impact on this investigation.
But tips from other sources keep coming in, and detectives are optimistic that one day they will find out what happened to Jamie.
We have searched with K9, with other investigative ground penetrating devices, wooded areas around the property, across from the property, as well as miles away from the property. I think total we've searched probably 15, 16 square miles, if not more, in several different areas throughout the county. But we'll keep moving forward and work towards solving it and bring closure to it.
A copy of Jamie Fraley's active case file resides on my desk and stays on my desk, and so that I can see it daily. I do think we will find Jamie Fraley at some point.
It's difficult to gauge Rick Jr.'s reaction to his father's passing.
I don't believe that Ricky Jr. had a father-son relationship. His father was not around and did not really play a role in his growth.
So I did let him stay with us for a while. And he did good for a while. He went and got back on drugs and back down the same path.
For Jamie's mother, every day is a struggle.
Some people say, don't question God, but, you know, I had a hard time bringing her into the world, you know. Why would you take her from me? And I was supposed to be there to protect her. And I haven't got past that. It makes you feel like a bad mother. Wondering, well, when you go to eat, and you think, well, I can't. Because what if she's not getting to eat? Or you go to sleep. Tell me I can't. What if she's not getting to sleep? Why should I have the right to eat or sleep?
Her family is committed to finding Jamie and bringing her home at any cost.
At this point in time, I mean, I just want Jamie to come home. I hope that she's still alive. The odds are against us right now, but we can't give up hope. I'll never give up on Jamie. Never.
Just when I close my eyes, I can remember her laugh, her smile, the light in her eyes. She's my angel.
When 27-year-old Terrence Williams goes missing after a night of partying, his family fears for his safety.
Terrence didn't go a day without calling me.
But events soon to be uncovered will spin a simple case of a missing man into a complex and controversial investigation.
You're a seasoned veteran. You're seasoned. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
It was just chilling to have all these little pieces that sounded so similar.
Something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
And a sheriff's office is confronted with the unthinkable.
It doesn't matter how we look. There's a case to be solved here.
On a mild January night in 2004 on Florida's Gulf Coast, Marcia Williams drops off her 27-year-old son Terrence at his home in Naples after a long day of work. As she watches her only son step out of the car, she marvels at how far Terrence has come in the 2 years since he moved to Florida.
When he first moved to Naples, he would worry if he couldn't find a job. But I was always his coach, you know, his cheerleader. Just hang in there. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be okay.
Terrence's mother has always done her best to support her son, and she is the reason he moved to Florida in the first place, leaving behind 3 of his 4 children in Tennessee.
I was married and moved to Naples with my husband. A couple of months later, Terrence moved to Naples. Well, you know, he had to be with his mother.
Having difficulty meeting the child support needs for his 4 kids, Terrence hopes the move will give him more financial opportunities. With the housing boom in Southwest Florida in full swing, jobs were plentiful.
He found a job in construction, and later on he decided to work a little bit harder, so he found a second job at Pizza Hut in Bonita Springs, Florida, which is just a very short ride from Naples, Florida.
After losing his driver's license in Tennessee while driving under the influence, Terrence has been dependent on his mother and his roommate Jason to get him places. His new job at Pizza Hut is a 13-mile trip from home, straight through the new, sprawling suburb of affluent North Naples. In December of 2003, yearning for more independence, Terrence shops around for a car.
He has this thing for Cadillacs, so he went and he bought a Cadillac.
After 2 years living in Naples without incident, Terrence is itching to gain back his freedom. But he will have to wait 6 months until June before he can get his license back. After only a few weeks on the job at Pizza Hut, Terrence seems to be getting along well with his new coworkers. He has been invited to a work party later that night in Bonita Springs, but first, Terrence needs to go back to Naples to change clothes.
I picked him up from work, took him back to his house. The last thing he said to me was, "Bye, Mama. I'll see you later."
Once inside his house, Terrence tries to convince his roommate to accompany him to the party.
He egged me on just a little bit, saying, "Oh, come on, you know, you can come with me, this, and that." And I just had to say, no, no, no.
Without a ride, Terrence decides to take a risk by driving himself to Bonita Springs in his unregistered Cadillac.
He says, "All right, see you later."
A short time later, Jason receives a worrisome call from Terrence, who has pulled over at a shopping center to use a payphone.
He says, "Oh man, all I see is a bunch of cops around."
Although Terrence usually maintains composure, his roommate senses fear in his friend's voice. Maybe Terrence regrets taking out the car.
He goes, "I'm just talking to you right now just so that I can see what's going on and, you know, maybe wait him out." After a few minutes, he says, "Okay, I'm gonna go." I said, "All right, have a good night." And that was it.
I've always taught Terrence, wherever you are, you call somebody and you let them know what's going on.
A few minutes after hanging up with Terrence, Jason places his phone next to the TV and heads off to bed.
The next morning when Jason wakes up, he finds his roommate has not come home. At first, Jason isn't worried.
He has this rule that if he's gone for a couple days, don't worry about it, because he might be staying at someone's house.
That Monday morning, Jason checks his voicemail to see if Terrence has called.
I had a couple missed calls from a number I didn't recognize at 4 in the morning. So I called those numbers back.
The woman who answers says she is one of Terrence's co-workers from Pizza Hut. She distinctly remembers seeing him leave the party alone sometime between 5 and 6 a.m. Maybe Terrence had called Jason wanting a ride home.
I wish that I left my cell phone on my nightstand like I always did. That night, I just so happened to forget it on the entertainment center.
Meanwhile, on the north side of town, Terrence's mother is just waking up. For no particular reason, she has a gut feeling that something terrible has happened to her only son.
I was so nervous. I got up and I had Terrence in my mind. And I just walked through the house and I just prayed.
Despite her uneasiness, Terrence's mother continues her day as planned.
I got myself together. I went to work.
The following day, Marcia still has not heard from her son.
Tuesday, his roommate sent me an email. He said, "Have you heard from Terrence?" And I said, "No."
To Marcia, it is a sign that something is gravely wrong.
Terrence didn't go a day without calling me. We were just too close.
Coming up, the disturbing disconnect between witness testimony and what a responding officer recalls.
You're a seasoned veteran. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
27-year-old Terrence Williams has just started a new job at a Pizza Hut in Bonita Springs, Florida. On Sunday, January 11th, the Naples resident takes his newly bought vintage Cadillac to an after-work employee party, even though he does not have a license to drive. The next morning, Terrence isn't home, and nobody knows where he is.
His roommate tried to call everybody that he knew trying to find him. The next day came, and we went through the same thing again.
I started calling the hospitals. No one who fit his description showed up. So then I started calling the jails, thinking that he might have gotten picked up for driving that thing without a license, and no one picked him up. I started to worry a little bit more, because now he's nowhere to be found.
Wednesday came. I couldn't stay at work. I had to do something. I had to find my child.
Marcia goes to the Pizza Hut where Terrence works, and they confirm her fears. He has missed work for the last 3 days and has failed to pick up his last 2 paychecks. She then drives to the Collier County Sheriff's Office, intending to file a missing persons report.
We went to a substation, and I told them I can't find my son. Well, I was told, he's grown. If you haven't heard from him in a month, you come back.
Although Marcia has no proof that Terrence is in danger, she knows her son would never drop out of sight without letting someone know.
We had not had any arguments, no disagreements, nothing. It's like, okay, I'll see you later, Mama. That's the last time that I spoke with him. That night when I dropped him off.
Marcia reaches out to her family in Tennessee for help.
One of my sisters said, give me all of the numbers to the hospitals, the morgues, anything you can think of. And they made calls from Chattanooga.
The Williams family started contacting our dispatcher's office around January 15th of 2004.
Because of the sheer volume of calls coming into the Collier County Sheriff's Office from the family, police begin to take Terrence's case more seriously. A deputy is dispatched to his mother's house to take a report.
When I was first questioned face to face, I said, he's not coming back. They said, well, how do you know? I said, a mother knows.
Then, 24 hours later, Terrence's aunt in Tennessee uncovers a lead that could bring them one step closer to finding Terrence.
She said, we found the car. She told me that the car was towed from his cemetery. I'm going like, oh my God, he could be in the trunk of the car. Everything just goes through your mind, everything.
Marcia wastes no time heading over to the towing company's lot.
I ID'd the car right away. His 2 jackets were in there, empty carton of Newport cigarettes, which is what he smoked, and I said, that's the car.
The manager tells Marcia that the car was towed from Naples Memorial Cemetery on the 12th of January because it was obstructing traffic. According to the report, the tow was requested by a deputy from the Collier County Sheriff's Office.
From that point, we were just continuously calling the Sheriff's Department, just trying to get somebody to help.
But the Sheriff's Office is unable to provide them with any more information, since there has been no arrest or incident report filed. The next step is to see if there were witnesses at the cemetery.
I called the cemetery and I spoke with whoever was there that morning, and they told me that they witnessed Terrence being pulled over.
Finally, there is a break. Terrence's family now has a new last known location, and they know who had the Cadillac towed. He is a 17-year patrol veteran named Deputy Steve Calkins. But what they are told next only heightens the mystery surrounding the young man's disappearance.
The witnesses see the Calkins pull into the parking lot following Terrence Williams's Cadillac. They all remember he had his emergency lights activated, and nobody remembered hearing the siren on.
The funeral home employees say the deputy asked the young man for identification, which he did not have.
They saw an interaction between the two, and some of the witnesses believe they saw Calkins pat Terrence down and place him in the back of the car. But nobody had noted any sort of like a confrontational type interaction between the two. It seemed very cordial.
The witnesses were asked by the deputy, can I leave his car here? I'll be back to have it towed. And they said yes.
According to witness accounts, the deputy returns alone somewhere between 15 minutes to an hour later. He then gets into Terrence's car and moves it from the parking spot in front of the funeral home to the side of the road.
The car was pulled up to obstruct traffic, and the keys were found on the ground outside of the car. That's my understanding.
The more Terrence's family hears, the less the scenario makes sense. Now, knowing Terrence was taken away by an officer and that he was driving on expired tags without a license, insurance, or registration, they question why the deputy did not arrest him.
And all I wanted to do was talk to him. I wanted him to give me any other information that he could give me.
The Williams family repeatedly calls the police communication center, hoping for answers. Since no one in the dispatch can find any information on Terrence, a supervisor eventually calls Deputy Calkins directly to get to the bottom of the mystery.
Yeah. I hate to bother you home on your day off, but this woman's been bothering us all day. You towed a car from Vanderbilt to 111th Monday, a Cadillac. Do you remember it?
No.
Do you remember? She said it was near the cemetery. I mean, the people at the cemetery are telling her you put somebody in the back of your vehicle and arrested them, and I don't show you arresting anybody.
I never arrested nobody.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I gotta think about this one for a while.
But you're sure no one was with that vehicle? It was around 12:30 in the afternoon.
Jesus, I can't remember.
You don't remember? You used to be my age, huh?
He had no memory of this contact.
But Terrence's mother finds this hard to believe. After hearing the witness's testimony at the cemetery and seeing the deputy's signature on the tow record.
You're a seasoned veteran. You're seasoned. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
After more pressure from Terrence's parents, a second call is made later that day from the sheriff's office to the deputy. This time, his memory returns.
At that point, he does say, oh yeah, that he remembers making contact with Terrence.
Coming up, a coincidence in the extreme is revealed when details in a deputy's incident report mirror the case of another missing man.
Something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
4 days after Terrence Williams is last seen leaving a party, his family finds out that his car was towed hours later from a North Naples cemetery. Witnesses at the cemetery remember seeing a white Cadillac getting pulled over by a patrol deputy, and a young man fitting Terrence's description being ushered into the back of the police car. 7 days later, Corporal Steve Calkins is asked to submit an incident report.
On the 19th, the investigators make contact with Calkins, and he tells the first group of investigators that he runs into Terrence coming down Vanderbilt Beach Drive Road, where he says that he could see the car was obviously having problems.
Hearing this testimony puzzles Terrence's mother.
The deputy stated that the car was in distress. The car was just taken out of the shop. And when I was finally able to get the car, I drove the car 25 miles. No problem.
But other than a slight time discrepancy, the witness accounts mirror Calkins' report.
His side of the story was that Terrence was kind of pleading for a ride to work. Would you please give him a ride up the block to the Circle K? At first, Calkins says, no, I'll get you a cab. But eventually, he says he seems like a nice guy, he's persistent, and he does decide to give him a ride up to the Circle K.
Because Terrence has a tainted history with the law from his early adulthood in Chattanooga, his mother finds Calkins' account hard to believe.
Terrence wouldn't ask a cop to take him to work. He would have called me first, or Jay.
She also does not understand why Terrence would have lied about working at the Circle K.
His side of the story is that when he puts him out at the Circle K, he tells Terrence to get his ID in order and make sure that the paperwork is in order for the car.
According to Calkins, Terrence told him the registration papers were in the glove box. So the deputy decides to go back to the cemetery alone to further investigate the car.
He doesn't find any of this paperwork that he claims that Terrence told him was in there.
Feeling deceived by the man Calkins said he knows only as Terrence, the deputy says he phoned the Circle K to track him down. He says he was told that no one by that name worked there. The deputy then called in the license plate number to dispatch. He found Terrence was driving on an expired tag. Now, with a new piece of the puzzle in the search for Terrence, family and investigators spring into action. The first stop is the Circle K. They're hoping the missing man has been caught on surveillance camera and ask the manager to screen video from January the 12th.
Terrence's stepfather viewed that tape by himself before law enforcement did, and he didn't see him there.
There's nowhere on camera that Terrence was dropped off in the deputy's car.
Employees who worked that day are also questioned.
Nobody at the Circle K ever saw Terrence get out of the vehicle. A very busy Circle K, especially at noontime.
But investigators know the constant flow of traffic would make it less likely for someone to remember seeing the alleged drop-off.
So we have no independent witnesses.
Meanwhile, the Williams family are desperate to know more, and they are not satisfied with the way Deputy Calkins has conducted himself.
So I became more suspicious when it didn't seem as if he was helping at all. So I said, enough of this. I filed a complaint.
Internal Affairs immediately opens a case on Deputy Calkins to see if he has violated any policies in his handling of the traffic stop. As both the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Terrence Williams and the internal affairs probe into Calkins' conduct heats up, detectives find themselves in an awkward position.
Early on, when the people running this investigation realized that we were looking at one of our own, I think wisely at that point, they chose to invite outside agencies to come in.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement, along with the FBI, are asked to conduct their own investigation to avoid any accusations of a cover-up.
In this particular case, you've got a law enforcement officer as their person of interest. It's always important to have a third party look at it so there isn't any appearance of any impropriety.
But there is more. The case has the sheriff's office particularly unnerved for another reason. It is eerily similar to a complaint filed against the same deputy just 3 months earlier, also in connection with a missing man in North Naples.
The connection was actually made quite quickly. It's a small agency, small enough to realize that something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
25 miles down the road, in a poor migrant farming town called Immokalee, the case of a missing Mexican immigrant, 23-year-old Felipe Santos, has rocked the community. The last person known to have seen Felipe before he disappeared, just months earlier, was Deputy Steve Calkins. Things were looking up for Felipe Santos after 2 difficult years working as a migrant farmer.
He was able to find a job to work in construction, which meant that that was a more stable job. It was a little bit better paid.
With his girlfriend expecting their first child, this new prospect was good news for Felipe. The only problem was that the job happened to be 30 miles away.
More often than not, you have to get there on your own steam. Felipe and his brothers had acquired a car and were driving themselves to work in the morning.
As undocumented workers, neither Felipe nor his brothers was able to apply for driver's licenses or get insurance.
He was driving without a license, not because he wasn't trying to follow the laws, but because he was trying to support his family.
On the morning of October 14th, 2003, Felipe Santos said goodbye to his girlfriend and newborn baby girl.
Felipe and his brothers were going to work. They'd gotten all the way into Naples, and they were very close to the work site when they were in an accident.
Felipe got into the wrong turning lane in the left side, came back into traffic, making contact with the other car.
The 2 damaged vehicles pulled out of the busy intersection and into a shopping center. The other driver flagged down a police car. Deputy Steve Calkins emerged from the cruiser. Coming up, 2 men are caught driving without a license or insurance by the same responding deputy, and both men are missing.
How do you handle that type of situation? Do you turn a blind eye?
When the Collier County Sheriff's Office learns that 27-year-old Terrence Williams was last seen getting into the back of Deputy Steve Calkins' patrol car, the case of the missing young father intensifies. Police are concerned. It is the second time that Deputy Calkins was the last person confirmed to have contact with a missing person out of North Naples. 3 months earlier, he was the responding officer to a car crash involving Felipe Santos.
He made contact first with the citizen who explained a little bit of the crash, and from his account, Felipe Santos identified himself as the driver of the car.
When he found out that Felipe didn't have a driver's license, he put him immediately in the back of the patrol car.
Calkins described it as a very amicable situation where everyone was just cordial.
But a statement given to the police by the other driver tells a slightly different story.
She said that when Corporal Calkins arrived on scene, he seemed agitated and made a comment that he was tired of handling incidences with people without driver's license and without insurance.
According to witnesses, the deputy drove out of the parking lot with Felipe in the backseat of the cruiser. His family believed the officer arrested Felipe and that they would find him in the county jail.
They called the jail center, a number of times during the day and actually went over to the jail that afternoon. And Felipe wasn't there.
Two weeks after the accident, with no word from the dedicated new father, the Santos family finally received a copy of Deputy Calkins' incident report, explaining why Felipe was not in lockup.
Calkins said that he decided not to take him to jail because he was polite, and that he was going to drop him off at the Circle K so that he could make a call, so he could get a ride.
According to the incident report, Deputy Calkins did not want Felipe to get back in his car, which is why he drove him only a half-mile up the road to the Circle K gas station. But before letting Felipe go, Deputy Calkins issued him 3 tickets. The first, driving without a license, obliged Felipe to appear in court on November 13th, while the other 2 carried fines totaling $2,000. After seeing the citations and reading the deputy's report, the Santos family feels Deputy Calkins did not act appropriately.
They were finally able to file a missing persons report and also a complaint, because if he had been arrested, then he should have been in jail. He shouldn't have just disappeared.
Deputy Calkins is made aware that his handling of the accident will be investigated by Internal Affairs. In his 17 years with the Collier County Sheriff's Office, his record has been commendable. He has even been lauded a hero on several occasions while on patrol. Now, under tight scrutiny, Calkins is forthcoming and volunteers a taped interview. As far as the missing persons case goes, police have very little to go on.
Mr. Santos was of legal age, had every right in America to just not to be found.
But Felipe's failure to appear on the November 13th scheduled court date in accordance with the citation now does make him a fugitive. Could he be hiding from the police intentionally to escape prison or deportation? Although plausible, investigators did not believe this to be the case.
We didn't have any evidence of a crime, but there were certain red flags that the original investigators picked up on and kept the case alive. No family contact. He didn't pick up his paycheck.
The hunt for Felipe involves multiple agencies and crosses borders, and not a shred of evidence surfaces to indicate Felipe is alive and well. After nearly a 2-month administrative investigation, Deputy Calkins is exonerated of any wrongdoing regarding his actions following the traffic stop.
Would another police officer do what he did? I don't know, but what he did was correct and according to procedures at the time.
Then, just 72 hours after Felipe's family is sent a letter stating Deputy Calkins has been cleared of any wrongdoing, Terrence Williams goes missing. Is this a coincidence in the extreme, or something far worse? Nine days after Terrence Williams goes missing, the Collier County Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit processes his car. They are looking for any kind of evidence that would help them determine what happened to Terrence.
There was some trace evidence found in the car. However, it's crucial for the case that that be kept confidential at this time.
2 days later, the Sheriff's Office holds a press conference asking the public for help in locating Terrence Williams. Tips start flooding in.
In the beginning of the investigation, there were several tips that came in, sightings of Terrence. One of the officers believed that he might have saw somebody that might have been Terrence by the Granada Shopping Center. But that was fully investigated, and it just didn't pan out.
On February 12th, 1 month after Terrence went missing, Internal Affairs asks Steve Calkins to come in for a taped interview. As part of the administrative investigation, Calkins signs a document stating nothing he says can be used as evidence in a criminal court. Feeling satisfied with his answers, investigators then issue Deputy Calkins a polygraph, and he passes. Coming up, the investigation takes a dramatic turn when police uncover a recorded dispatch call on the day Terrence went missing.
He lied. To me, that was more important than anything in that phone call.
It has been over 1 month since Terrence Williams went missing, and more than 4 months since Felipe Santos disappeared. There has been no sign of either man since the day they each vanished.
Terrence and Felipe goes together now, you know. The last person that we are aware of that saw them was the deputy.
The criminal investigations into both missing men share the same starting point, Deputy Calkins' patrol car, since that is where both men were last seen. Detectives orchestrate a covert forensic search of the car.
They were looking for any telltale signs of a violent struggle. There might have been a sign of a cleanup in the car where blood could have spattered.
I was told that his car was searched and it was immaculate. That's the word that you use, very clean.
But investigators did not stop there. A GPS device is put on his vehicle to see where Calkins spends his time while on patrol. They are looking for secluded spots where he could have taken Terrence, if in fact a crime was committed.
They identified 12 areas at that time where they felt intensive searches needed to be done.
After 2 days of exhaustive searches, using aerial photography and several cadaver dog teams, investigators find no new evidence.
Unfortunately, it was just so much wasteland out there. It's wooded area. You could do something in broad daylight and nobody would know.
Meanwhile, detectives delve into Terrence's background to see if he has any reason to disappear on his own.
Terrence, as a young man, did have some issues with the law up in Tennessee.
On January 14th, 2 days after the morning he went missing, Terrence was scheduled to appear in front of a judge in Chattanooga, involving back pay for child support.
He would have never ran from it. He didn't miss his court dates because he was trying to make everything right so that he could keep moving forward in his life.
When he failed to show up, a warrant was issued for his arrest. Now, police must question whether this warrant has anything to do with Terrence going missing.
Terrence did have full knowledge of the proceedings against him. Did he have reason to disappear for that? Yeah, but if he did, he's doing a masterful job.
Meanwhile, the internal affairs probe into Calkins' conduct the day Terrence went missing continues. After giving detectives his statement on February 12th, they must make sure the deputy's story checks out. They pull tapes of the calls the deputy made into dispatch that afternoon, and what they find is disconcerting. Just 4 minutes after finding out Terrence's tag was expired, Calkins contacts his friend in dispatch with a story that contradicts both his original statement and what the witnesses saw.
I got a homie Cadillac on the side of the road here. Signal 11, signal 52, nobody around. All right. The tag comes back to nothing. It's a big old white piece of Joe Cadillac. Like a really? I told it. He told it, Davey. Give me the VIN number. Maybe he's out there in the cemetery. He'll come back in his car and be gone. Yeah, really. Mr. No registration. Well, it was blocking the road about an inch off the road, you know.
Previously, Calkins said he followed Terrence into the cemetery parking lot because the man was having car trouble. Then, the deputy said he later moved the Cadillac to the side of the road so that it could be a background check on Terrence. Up until now, investigators have been led to believe that Deputy Calkins' interaction with Terrence lasted no more than 5 minutes, and that he never knew the man's last name. Yet now, 23 minutes after he calls dispatch to have the car towed, he he is able to run a background check using Terrence's full name and a fake birth date. It is a date only Terrence himself could have shared with Calkins.
That became a problem for the investigators. Where did he get the date of birth?
On March 30th, Steve Calkins is asked once again to come in for questioning by Internal Affairs. When asked about the discrepancies, the deputy admits he cannot account for them.
He thought he found paperwork in the car, but he was confronted that you already said there was no paperwork in the car.
The more Steve Calkins is interviewed by Internal Affairs, the more inconsistent he gets.
He was boxed in on a lot of questions, couldn't answer, and that's alarming.
Three months after Terrence went missing, police issue Deputy Calkins another polygraph. Unlike before, the questions now focus on what happened after Deputy Calkins had Terrence's car towed.
He was asked where to get the date of birth. Was Terrence with him? He failed that. He failed when he had any second contact with Terrence. He failed that. He was found to be totally deceptive.
The polygraph results beg the question: did Steve Calkins see Terrence again after allegedly dropping him off at the Circle K? And if so, why isn't he coming clean? Calkins insists his interaction with both Terrence and Felipe ended at the Circle K, and that he had nothing to do with either man going missing. It's the last time Stephen Calkins answers questions from law enforcement about what happened on January 11th.
The fact that he's no longer cooperating sits heavy with a lot of folks.
And if Calkins is hiding something, there is nothing more the police can do.
No probable cause ever came up to search his house. Love to have done it, but just no probable cause ever existed. Do we have issues with some of the things that he said and did? Yes. But motive, no.
On August 20th, the Internal Affairs investigation comes to a close. All complaints against Steve Calkins are sustained, and he is fired for non-compliance with rules and regulations, untruthfulness, and conduct unbecoming of an officer. 2 weeks later, Calkins appeals the decision.
He felt he was being picked on by the agency, that they were unfairly going after him for political reasons. He felt that the investigators kind of slumped off certain leads.
Calkins' appeal is denied. Although the Collier County Sheriff insists there is no hard evidence to suggest physical harm has come to either Felipe or Terrence, his decision to fire Calkins is firm. In a memo, the sheriff says he has lost trust in Calkins and his ability to recall incidents.
Collier County Sheriff's Office did exactly what they were supposed to do. FDLE, I'd like to think we did exactly what we were supposed to do. The unfortunate part is the circumstances around this case doesn't lead us to a resolution right now.
The Collier County Sheriff's Office has been deeply affected by this investigation.
It rocks us. But it also, too, is a way of solidifying this agency, that we turn around and we band together and say, no, this kind of behavior is unacceptable.
Yet to this day, Stephen Calkins believes he was wronged by the Collier County Sheriff and that he fell victim to coincidence. But Terrence's mother is not buying it.
He's gonna pay for what he did to my grandchildren. He's gonna pay for what I've been going through.
Coincidence or not, Stephen Calkins remains on investigators' radar.
We don't pick our persons of interest. The facts bring us to a person of interest. And every time you look at this case, the facts bring us back to Stephen Calkins.
Unfortunately, we still have a little bit of a mystery on our hands.
7 years have passed since Terrence Williams and Felipe Santos went missing from North Naples. But detectives from the Collier County Sheriff's Office say they never stray far from the case.
Anytime any unidentified person is found deceased in this county, or if I find other counties where we constantly exchange information, a follow-up is done.
Then in January of 2011, the skeletal remains of an unidentified male are found in a secluded area just under a mile from where Felipe was last seen.
When I read it, I'm like, it could be Felipe. And if it's Felipe, Terrence is close by.
For the family to have peace, they just want to have their questions answered. What happened that day? Where did he go? Why isn't he here?
Although a preliminary report rules out the body as Felipe's, investigators must wait for final confirmation through DNA testing. Meanwhile, Marcia Williams continues her unending quest to locate her only son.
I just want to know where my child is. I want to be able to take him home, and then I can begin to close that chapter. But I'll never in my life forget him. I'll never forget him. And he was my good friend.